Tarin snorted coldly and used his divine body to resist. In the next moment, he realized that he had actually taken a step forward and then a second step. Although he walked very slowly and had to use all his strength to deal with each step, he could indeed walk in this mysterious world. A radius of 100 meters was the maximum range that Lin Xian could move within. Although the distance was very short, Lin Xian was very happy. This was because he knew that this space was very mysterious and vast. As long as he became stronger, he could continue to explore. Although there was only a withered divine tree within a radius of 100 meters, there were good things in other places. Lin Xian stood 100 meters away and looked forward. He realized that there were some spiritual herb seeds on the ground in front of him. No one would notice such things outside, but Lin Xian was happy, because he could feel the powerful energy contained in them. If one batch could grow, the power would be unimaginable. Next, Lin Xian cultivated his physique in this mysterious world. The pressure was very beneficial to his 9-yang divine body. There was a black ground and a mysterious cave. There was an extremely strong array around it. It was obvious that this was an important place of the Xintian Pavilion. Ordinary people could not enter at all. At this moment, Jianwuk was holding a token and walking cautiously in the array. He came to the cave in front of him and stopped. Then, he respectfully said, "Lord Xiangtian has arrived. How is it?" A calm voice came from inside. "Very strong. A peerless genius. Not bad. When the time is right, bring him to see me." Jianwuk accepted the order and turned to leave. Another 2 months passed. The array outside flashed and Lin Xian walked out of this mysterious world. A man and a woman were waiting outside. They were the 2 people that Lin Xian had seen before. The man walked over and smiled. "Lin Gongzi, right? I am Jian Shi-san. This is my junior sister, Jian Wu. From now on, we are family." The 2 of them were very polite. Lin Xian smiled. Then, he asked, "Oh right, are we going to fight?" "That's right, it will be soon. But we still have to wait for half a month. We are here to ask young master if you need some cultivation resources." "Are we disturbing young master?" Lin Xian smiled when he heard that. "No, I am not disturbing you. I want to come out and walk around." "Oh right, you 2 bring me around the Xintian Pavilion." Since Jian Wu was happy, she said, "But we can only bring you around Elder Wuk's territory. We can't enter the territories of the other elders." Although it was called a territory, it was boundlessly vast. Elder Wuk's territory was filled with sword cultivators. Each of them carried a sword on their back and gave off a cold aura. Jian Wu was very cheerful. She told Lin Xian a lot. She even said that there was a very powerful sword saint under Elder Wushuang's command. They formed the sword gate. "Lin Gongzi, why don't I bring you there to take a look?" "Okay." Lin Xian was a top swordsman himself. Naturally, he wanted to see these sword saint experts. They passed through a few mountain ranges and found a valley in front. The valley was huge and sword energy filled the sky. It was obviously much stronger than other places. Jian Shi-san pointed ahead. That was where the sword gate was. Lin Xian stood in midair and looked down. Then, he was shocked. It was really strong. He realized that there were hundreds of people below. Although there weren't many of them, they were all top sword saints. Their auras were really terrifying. At this moment, these people were training. Their training methods were also very scary. In the valley below, the array flickered and formed 10 spaces. There were a few sword saints in each space, and their opponents were monsters. These beast saints were captured by the elders of the Xintian Pavilion. They were very fierce and had a murderous aura. These people were using these monsters to train. Sword energy swept across. Those monsters were also very scary. Their strength was even more terrifying than these sword saints. In an instant, some sword saints vomited blood and were sent flying. But soon, they charged over again. Chapter 45-44. Only by facing stronger opponents could one hone one's swordsmanship. If one were to fight someone weaker than oneself, there would be no point in cultivating. This kind of cultivation was also very dangerous. Every time, someone would be seriously injured. The effect was also very good. The strength of hundreds of swordsmen was very terrifying. They could wipe out thousands of soldiers. It could be said that countless swordsmen wanted to join Swords Gate. Swordsman Wu explained in detail. Lin Xian nodded slightly after listening. He looked at the three figures. These three people were very strong and their swordsmanship was very outstanding. And from the looks of it, they were very young. They were young, peerless swordsmen. Their opponent was a dragon sparrow. It spread its wings, forming endless wind and flames that swept over. The three of them fought with it. They were evenly matched. Gradually, the three of them gained the upper hand. Countless sword marks were left on the dragon sparrow's body. Blood flowed out. The dragon sparrow was enraged. It attacked crazily, wanting to go all out, but it was firmly suppressed. At this moment, the dragon sparrow roared, and the power in its body burst out. In an instant, the three sword saints were sent flying. The dragon sparrow roared to the sky, and the blood in its body burned. It actually tore open the array with one blow. Not good. This guy had hidden his strength before, and now he was going all out. In its current state, the dragon sparrow's power was very terrifying. It was a top existence among the Saint Kings. It was infinitely close to the late-stage Saint King. If it continued to burn its blood, it would definitely reach the late-stage Saint King. In this way, it would be a fatal threat to these sword saints. Damn it! The surrounding sword saints also roared and wanted to attack. But unfortunately, each of them had an opponent. Those monsters roared together and attacked crazily. Damn it! These guys dared to secretly contact each other. The people of Swords Gate were crazy. In the sky, Swordsman Wu and Jian Shisan's expressions changed. Not good. They had heard from Elder Wushuang before. This dragon sparrow was very unusual. It had the bloodline of the dragon race, and now it seemed that the bloodline was stronger than expected. Now that he was going all out, it would be difficult to suppress it. Should they inform Elder Wushuang? It was probably too late. Jian Shisan's face was pale. The dragon sparrow spread its wings and attacked the three geniuses below. The three geniuses were also in despair. Were they going to die? They were all top-notch swordsmen and geniuses. Their future achievements were limitless. It was a pity that something unexpected had happened. Just as everyone was in despair, Lin Xian made his move. His figure flashed as he charged downward. In the next moment, he arrived between the two. Facing the dragon sparrow, Lin Fan slapped out with his palm. The man-ruler seal blasted out with supreme might. A sky-shaking sound rang out. The dragon sparrow was blasted flying. Feathers fell from the sky, carrying endless flames as they pierced through the 9 heavens. So valiant. Many people were surprised. He was saved. The three geniuses were also stunned. They looked at the figure in front of them with shock. Who was this person? How could they not know each other? The dragon sparrow was sent flying. It raised its head and roared at the sky. The remaining blood in its veins burned rapidly. In the next moment, he transformed into a flaming divine sword and charged over. The 9 heavens and 10 earths were torn apart. Not good, quickly dodge. The three geniuses roared crazily. Lin Xian's eyes exploded with a biting cold light. This thing didn't know life from death. On his body, endless sword light transformed into a sword god. The unparalleled sword was held in his hand. Slash. The sword chi slashed down, splitting heaven and earth into 2 halves. This sword enveloped the dragon sparrow. Heaven and earth shattered. The dragon sparrow's body split open and fell from the sky. Endless storms swept in all directions. Everyone looked up at the sky in shock. What a powerful sword. This was a peerless sword technique. Who exactly was this person? Boom, boom, boom. The 2 halves of the dragon sparrow fell to the ground, stirring up a lot of dust and shaking the array formation. The surrounding powerful beasts looked at this scene and roared crazily as if they wanted to tear the array formation apart and kill Lin Xian. Lin Xian held the long sword in his hand and snorted coldly. He looked around coldly. With a glance, the beasts trembled and a trace of fear appeared in their hearts. They stopped roaring and retreated one by one. The surrounding people were all stunned. They didn't expect this young man to be so terrifying. Jian Shisan and Jian Wu were also shocked. Was it a sword technique that he used just now? It was so terrifying. They had received news that the other party was a body tempering expert. They didn't expect him to be a peerless swordsman. They didn't know who the young master was. The three geniuses also walked over. They cupped their fists and thanked the young master for saving their lives. Lin Xian smiled. You're too polite. We're on the same side from now on. The three of them were stunned. Who was the young master? At this moment, Jianwu walked over and smiled. This was the peerless genius that Elder Wuk brought back, Lin Xian, Lin Gongzi. So it's you. The surrounding people of Swords Gate were shocked. They had also heard that Elder Wushuang brought back a peerless genius and even fought for a spot in the competition. They were still unconvinced before and wanted to see who it was. Now that they saw it, they were shocked. Lin Gongzi, can you teach us sword techniques? Their eyes were filled with excitement. Lin Xian smiled. Sure. In the following days, Lin Xian spent his time in the valley sparring with these people. The strength of these 100 sword saints also improved by leaps and bounds. They were also deeply impressed by Lin Xian's sword techniques. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be about the same age as them. He was even younger than them. His attainments in sword techniques were so high. He was simply a young sword god. After half a month, it was finally time for the competition. At this moment, the atmosphere in the Xintian Pavilion changed. It wasn't just the Xintian Pavilion. The entire Tianxian Eastern region became nervous, because this competition was related to the Spirit Path Ancient Land. It was an extremely unusual place. If one could obtain it and cultivate it, it would be of great help to one's cultivation and laws. It could be said that even these Saint Kings needed it and were determined to obtain it. The legend of the Spirit Path Ancient Land was very magical. A peerless figure had once stayed there, and there was more than one. Even the young great emperor had been there, so it was very magical. It was an ancient land with a mysterious and unfathomable aura, like a fairyland. At this moment, there were already many figures gathered around the Spirit Path Ancient Land. Each of them had a powerful aura and a piercing light in their eyes. Among them, some were here to participate in the competition, and some were here to watch. After all, this was an earth-shattering event. On a few mountain peaks, the people who stayed were very terrifying. Their auras suppressed the 9 heavens. They were the experts of the Eternal River Sect, Battle King Peak, and Ice Feather Hall. These were the most terrifying sects in the Tianxian Eastern region. None of them were weaker than Ethereal Sect. Chapter 45-45. The 3 overlords stood there, and the people around them looked up at them. There was an empty space on the mountain next to them, and everyone knew that it was the place of the Xintian Pavilion. Were the people of the Xintian Pavilion not here yet? Many people were discussing. They had also received news that the Eternal River Sect and the Frozen Feather Palace were going to join forces. If that was the case, then this battle would probably have an earth-shattering change. They're here, someone exclaimed. Everyone sensed it and saw countless figures flying over from afar, covering the sky and earth. The people of the Xintian Pavilion. Everyone held their breaths. They saw many powerful figures descending like gods and demons. Behind them were hundreds of sword chi, like peerless divine swords, cutting through the void. So terrifying. What is that? That should be one of the teams, the Sword Sect. No, I know the Sword Sect. Although they're terrifying, they're not that powerful. Why do I feel that the Sword Sect has grown into peerless swordsmen? Discussions sounded one after another, and they all looked toward the Sword Sect. Then someone was surprised. Did you see that? In front of those peerless swordsmen, there was a figure. Who was that person? He looked unfamiliar. Everyone's eyes fell on Lin Xian. He seemed to only be an early-stage Saint King. Could such a person lead the Sword Sect? Countless people were surprised. Some people sneered. It seemed that the Xintian Pavilion had lost their minds. How stupid to send such a young man as their leader. This time, the Xintian Pavilion was probably going to lose. Amidst the countless discussions, the people of the Xintian Pavilion landed, and the 2 great saints in the lead, the Lotus Grand Elder and the Dark Feather Grand Elder. The other 3 overlords looked over as well. Instantly, laughter could be heard. You're late enough. I thought you didn't dare to come. The one who spoke was an old man in a blue robe. His face was old, and there was an extremely terrifying phantom of the Eternal River on his body. He was one of the Grand Elders of the Eternal River sect. After hearing that, the Lotus Grand Elder also snorted coldly. What was the use of coming early? Just because he came early, would he be able to win? I think you're thinking too much. The atmosphere between the two sides was a little tense. The aura of the two great saints bloomed, and the laws clashed in the air. Endless cracks spread between heaven and earth. The surrounding people felt their scalps go numb. It seemed like the rumors were true. Neither of the great saints was willing to submit to the other. All right, you two don't quarrel as soon as you arrive. Another old woman walked over. This old woman exuded an extremely powerful aura of ice, and she held an ice scepter in her hand. She was also a great saint. After he arrived, he began to smooth things over. On the War God Peak side, a middle-aged man who looked like a war god also walked over. The atmosphere gradually calmed down. Lin Xian stood on the mountain peak and looked around at the other three overlords. This should be their competitor this time. He saw that these sects were indeed very powerful. None of them were weaker than the ethereal peak. It seemed that the upcoming battle would be a tough one. Thinking of this, he took a deep breath, and a light appeared in his eyes. He already knew that the competition this time was to fight for the Spirit Path Ancient Land. Moreover, if they could succeed, then he would also have the qualifications to enter the Spirit Path Ancient Land. This was an excellent opportunity for him to improve his strength. How could he miss out on a few hundred years of cultivation time? Therefore, he had to win this time. At the front, the great saints of the four major sects discussed for a while. Then, a figure walked out and said loudly, "I'm sure everyone knows the rules of the Spirit Path Ancient Land this time. It's simple. Whoever can enter the Spirit Path Ancient Land can enjoy the resources inside. As for what methods you use, we won't care. Now, those who are ready to participate in the competition, walk forward. We'll open the seal of the Ancient Land." Hearing this, Lin Xian took a deep breath and walked up. The others also walked forward one after another. These were the people who had obtained the qualifications to enter the trial. Near Lin Xian, Long Feng and the others also walked out. On the other side, the people from the other three major sects also walked out. They were hostile towards each other. Some of them even had cold smiles on their faces. The great saint at the front formed a seal and tore the world apart. Countless Tao patterns intertwined, and a terrifying aura spread out. This Spirit Path Ancient Land was left behind from the ancient times, or even longer. There was an unparalleled aura inside. Now that the seal was opened, a terrifying power swept out. Everyone felt their bodies tremble. Some people were shocked. Even if there were no opponents, it wouldn't be easy to enter. That was true. Ordinary Saint Kings probably didn't have the strength to do so. Lin Xian's lips curled up. He also felt the pressure. However, the resources inside wouldn't disappoint him. All right, let's begin. After the order was given, countless figures rushed forward. Lin Xian also rose into the air. Looking at the leaving figure, Jian Wux's lips curled up into a smile. "Little guy, you have to grab hold of this opportunity." Beside him, Jian Wu and Jian Shursen also asked, "Elder, do you think Lin Gongzi will succeed this time?" It was hard to say for others, but Lin Xian should have no problem. Although these people didn't know Lin Xian yet, after this battle, they would all know Lin Xian. One figure after another entered the ancient land. After Lin Xian entered, he also felt a huge pressure. Chapter 45-46. The person next to him was incomparably angry. When he saw Lin Xian's expression, he was instantly enraged. There was an extremely cold, murderous intent in his eyes. Lin Xian glanced at him and said indifferently, "Do you still need me to laugh at you? Don't you know your own strength? If you don't have the strength, don't be in a hurry to die. You're courting death." The man was completely enraged. How dare Lin Xian look down on him? "Reckless fool, I want to see what qualifications you have to look down on me." He didn't continue to move forward. Instead, he stopped Lin Xian, his eyes emitting an extremely terrifying aura. A terrifying river appeared on his body. The river surged with monstrous power. Was the battle going to start so soon? The people outside were also extremely surprised when they saw this scene. Who was that kid? He should be from Xintian Pavilion. However, He looked unfamiliar. Could it be that he was a newcomer? Haha, then he was dead. The one who attacked was from Long River Sect, an extremely terrifying expert. His name was Chi Yuan. What he cultivated was an extremely terrifyingly fire river. Moreover, he was already an expert in the middle stage of the Saint King realm. That kid was only at the early stage of the Saint King realm. He couldn't resist at all. The people from Long River Sect also looked to the side and laughed. Fellow cultivators from Xintian Pavilion, I'm afraid one of you will be eliminated. If it was someone else, the spectators from Xintian Pavilion would definitely be nervous. However, they weren't worried about Lin Xian. Especially those elders, they were all very calm. They had seen Lin Xian's battle before. The elder from Golden Light laughed. Is that so? The battle hasn't started yet, and you're already so confident? I think you should be the ones who are miserable. The person who will be eliminated this time will definitely be from your Long River Sect. The people from Long River Sect were dumbfounded. These guys had water in their heads. An early stage Saint King realm wanted to resist? What a joke. Then let's wait and see. The elder from Long River Sect snorted coldly. The people from Frozen Feather Palace and Battle King Peak were also surprised. Where did Xintian Pavilion's confidence come from? Chi Yuan looked at Lin Xian and sneered. Kid, kneel down obediently now. I can do it. Before he could finish his sentence, he saw a fist flying toward him. In a moment of crisis, he raised his hand to block. The river of flames that filled the sky danced in front of him, forming a shield. The other party couldn't even break through his defense. However, he was wrong. This punch directly shattered his shield and landed on his face. There was a cracking sound. His face was smashed, and the rest of his words were cut off. His entire body flew backward, and the upper half of his body turned into a bloody mist. So much nonsense. Lin Xian withdrew his fist and said indifferently, I said that you are trash, but you still don't admit it. What's going on? How could that brat be so strong? The spectators outside were all stunned. The elder of the Long River Sect narrowed his eyes. This was impossible. The people from Xintian Pavilion smirked. They knew that this brat was extremely arrogant and would definitely not suffer a loss. The people from the other two sects were also shocked. When did the Xintian Pavilion come out? Such a top-level genius. Inside the ancient land, Chi Yuan was dumbfounded. How was this possible? His body recovered, but his expression was extremely ugly. Until now, he still couldn't believe that the other party could injure him. Damn brat, how dare you injure me? You have thoroughly enraged me. Go to hell. The river that filled the sky charged over with monstrous flames, turning into countless giant dragons that danced and galloped. Kill. Lin Xian roared and punched out. At the same time, the primordial demon mountain pressed down from the sky, suppressing the fire river that filled the sky. The man-ruler seal flew out and once again exploded the other party's body. Damn it. Chi Yuan was completely terrified. Who was this guy? He was too strong. He was no match for him. Retreat quickly. He fled to the back. Lin Xian looked at the other party's back and sneered. Ant. He struck out a sword chi and destroyed the other party. With this delay, Lin Xian had fallen far behind, but he didn't care. He stomped his feet and grabbed forward with both hands. The entire void was torn into two by him. A vacuum crack appeared, and his speed instantly increased by several times. He was too strong. This brat was an expert. Seeing this scene, countless people were shocked. The people from Xintian Pavilion had smiles on their faces. Not bad. They were very satisfied with the little brat that Wuk brought. However, the people from Long River Sect had ugly expressions. They were defeated by a young man right from the start, which made them lose face. This was especially true after they had arrogantly declared that they would not be defeated. This was a slap to their faces. What was there to be proud of? The elders of Long River Sect darkened their faces. It seemed that the plan had begun. Let's do it. They secretly formed seals with their palms and issued an order. Inside the ancient land, the eyes of the people from Long River Sect lit up, and then they nodded one by one. The three figures nearby slowly slowed down and approached Lin Xian. Lin Xian's soul was so strong that he instantly sensed it. He immediately narrowed his eyes. Were they going to attack? And there were 3 of them. He could sense that 2 of them should be from Long River Sect. The other person had a cold aura. Could it be from Ice Feather Palace? They had indeed joined forces. But so what? He didn't care about the 3 of them. The 3 of them were hidden in the void. Ordinary people couldn't detect them at all. Perhaps people of the same level didn't know the danger. Lin Xian laughed coldly. All right, with just this little trick of yours, there's no way you can hide anything from me. Come out. There was no movement around. The 3 of them were very experienced. They knew that this might be a bluff. Lin Xian said coldly, "What? You still don't want to come out? Do you want me to catch you?" He waved his hand and hit the void behind him. The void there shattered, and a figure retreated with a cold face. They had actually found him. "Kid, since you want to die, we'll fulfill your wish." He flew over. At the same time, the void on both sides shattered, and 2 more figures walked out. The 3 of them appeared and surrounded Lin Xian. The people outside were stunned when they saw this scene. They were 2 experts from the Eternal River Sect, and one was an expert from the Frost Feather Palace. Unexpectedly, they had attacked together. Sure enough, they had joined forces. That kid was really pitiful. He was besieged by 3 experts. No matter how strong he was, it would be difficult for him to resist. This time, the people from Xintian Pavilion were also nervous. Although they knew that Lin Xian was very strong, facing 3 middle-stage Saint Kings, he could only flee. Hopefully, he could escape. This time, let's see if you can still laugh. The people from the Long River Sect looked over and sneered. The people from Ice Feather Palace also had confident smiles. Not good. Lin Gongzi was in danger. Jian Wu was nervous, her face pale. Jian Shursen also gritted his teeth. Damn it. So despicable. So many experts bullying a young man. Don't you feel ashamed? Chapter 45-47. Lose face? One of the people on the other side sneered. In front of absolute strength, everything is futile. Our goal is only the ancient land. Anyone who dares to block our path will be killed. Damn it. Elder Golden Light's expression was also cold. Quickly inform those people that they must pay attention. They must not be besieged again. The only one who was calm was Jianwuk. Jianwuk naturally knew Lin Xian's strength. Even a late-stage Sage King could not do anything to Lin Xian. He could even block the attack of a great sage. These 3 middle-stage Saint Kings would not be able to do anything to him. However, his expression also darkened because the other party's actions angered him. Brat, you killed our Eternal River Sect's people. You really have guts. I originally wanted to let you die easily, but now it seems that is not possible. The woman from Frost Feather Hall snorted coldly. Why waste time talking to him? Just finish him off. All right, since the fairy has spoken, let's end this quickly. As soon as they finished speaking, their eyes shone with a piercing light. Terrifying laws flew out from their bodies, sweeping through the 9 heavens. It seemed that they did not intend to hold back at all. The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up into a smile. Joining forces? Are you sure? His eyes shone with a golden light as he looked at the woman from Frost Feather Hall. The woman in blue was stunned. In the next moment, her eyes shone with a golden light as well. She stopped and slapped at the Eternal River Sect's people beside her. Boom! Ice and snow danced, forming a world of ice and snow. The expert beside her was instantly sent flying. Endless ice and snow appeared on his body, and then he was turned into an ice sculpture. What's going on? The other person from the Eternal River Sect was stunned. Why did the other party attack him? Didn't they join forces? Damn it, what are you doing? However, just as he finished speaking, the woman attacked him again. The monstrous ice and snow melted and attacked continuously. That person was forced to retreat. Ice and snow appeared on his body. Damn it, do you want to die? The power of the Eternal River erupted, forming 9 rivers that surrounded him. Are you crazy? Not only him, but the people outside were also stunned. The elders of the Eternal River Sect could not believe it. They turned their heads to look at the Frost Feather Palace. Damn it, what's going on? Didn't we agree on this? Didn't you tell your people? The people of Frost Feather Palace were also stunned. How could this be? I've said it long ago. Damn it, What the hell is going on? In an instant, countless people were discussing. Meanwhile, in the valley below, those people had already started fighting. Lin Xian stood with his hands clasped behind his back, completely forgetting about this scene. The corners of his mouth curled up into a cold smile. These people could not withstand his eye technique at all. Therefore, with just a few tricks, these people were no match for him at all. Great, these guys are going to fight. The sword danced and cheered. Jin Shi-san was also surprised. Lin Gongzi's luck was really good, to actually be able to encounter such a thing. Wu's eyes flickered. Was he lucky? He did not think so. Come to think of it, he must have used an eye technique. Ancient lands. Many people were still charging ahead. A figure stood in the void, looking into the distance. His body carried endless blade light. He was called Lung Feng. Lung Feng looked at the battle in the distance and was also surprised. This kid was a little interesting. Luck was also a part of strength. On the other side, a tall man's face sank. He did not encounter me. Encountering me, no matter how good his luck is, it will turn into nothingness. Another woman also flew over. Her face was cold, and she had a pair of blue wings on her back. She frowned and said, "Chongqing, I don't know what happened before, but it's certain that we joined hands. I think something unexpected must have happened." This woman was a very terrifying expert of the Frost Feather Palace. Her name was Bing Wei. The other man was an expert of the Eternal River sect. His name was Chongqing. Chongqing frowned slightly after hearing that, but he soon smiled. That's natural. Both of us joined hands and went in to confirm this matter. Don't bother with those ants. It's not a problem at all. Our opponents this time are still others. For example, that Lung Feng. Speaking of this, Chongqing's eyes burst out with an extremely cold light. This time, I must trample him under my feet. On the other side, Lin Xian did not care about those people at all. He soared into the sky and went on his way again. Like a golden god of war, his speed and strength were extremely powerful, surpassing many people. The surrounding people were shocked. However, Lin Xian had defeated Qi Yuan and was extremely lucky to escape the pursuit of the three people. For a while, they did not dare to make a move on this kid. Lin Xian was naturally happy to see this. His speed was very fast, and soon, he surpassed most people and came to the front. There were still some people in front, but their numbers were very small. These people's auras were incomparably terrifying. There were also some changes in the terrain in front of him. There were some ancient stairs. It seemed that one had to go through these stairs to reach the destination. A golden light swept across his eyes, and he looked at the people on the stairs. There were not many people, but without exception, they were all very powerful. They had surpassed most people and had a very good chance of entering the real ancient land. These people are very strong. It's interesting that they can make me take them seriously. The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up into a smile. There were 6 figures on the stairs, and they turned their heads to look at him. There was a terrifying power in their eyes. These people were also experts. At this moment, they stood here and did not immediately go forward. Instead, they looked behind them. It seemed that they were planning to clean up some people. They took the lead to look at Lin Xian, and an extremely sharp light appeared in their eyes. Although this kid was only in the early stage of the Holy King realm, he was not to be underestimated. Even so, he could not defeat the 6 of them. Lin Xian also saw these 6 people. Suddenly, the corners of his mouth curled up into a cold smile, and his figure flashed and rushed over. The 6 people were instantly angry. Was he looking for death? He was challenging them. There were other directions to go forward, but this guy did not choose to go in their direction. If this was not a challenge to them, what was it? It couldn't be. That guy was going to attack the 6 of them? What a joke. Who did he think he was? Did he think that he would be so lucky every time? The people who were watching the battle outside went crazy. The 6 people snorted coldly, and when they joined forces, they struck out a terrifying law. It was like a canyon between heaven and earth, blocking everything. There was only one outcome for those who went against them, and that was death. In the face of such a terrifying joint attack, Lin Xian did not have the slightest intention of retreating. Instead, he sped up. He pressed forward, and no one could stop his footsteps. He was looking for death. They had already warned him. Since he did not know what was good for him, he could not blame them. Chapter 45-48. The six of them attacked. Terrifying laws and vast heaven and earth charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian formed a seal with both hands. In the sky, the primordial demon mountain descended. Heaven and earth kept shaking as if it was going to suppress everything. Boom. This mountain was really too terrifying. It was as if it had crossed through time and space. The laws between heaven and earth kept shattering. The pupils of the six figures also shrank. Damn it! Retreat quickly. They retreated one after another. The power of this mountain was beyond their imagination. Kill. As they retreated, they attacked again. Lin Xian waved his fists and fought with them, causing their arms to go numb. In the blink of an eye, the two sides had already collided. Then, Lin Xian stood on the primordial demon mountain and looked down at the surroundings. The six people around him retreated with pale faces. Their faces were full of shock. The power displayed by the other party was too strong, so strong that it was beyond their imagination. For a moment, they did not dare to make a move easily. They even suspected that Lin Xian was really lucky to escape from the attacks of the three of them. Was it not because he used other secret techniques? The surrounding people were stunned when they saw this scene. This guy was really strong, and he was too bold. The Xintian pavilion also held their breaths. Swordsman Wu's face was pale and nervous to the extreme. Jin Shursen also said, "I'm afraid I've seen a scene that I haven't seen in 1,000 years." Next, there would be an earth-shattering battle. Everyone was looking forward to it. He wondered if Lin Xian would be able to withstand it. However, to everyone's surprise, there was no battle. The six figures fell silent. They turned their heads and seemed to be deliberately avoiding Lin Xian. On the primordial demon mountain, Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. It seemed that these people were afraid when facing him. Thinking of this, he sneered. Those who were timid in their hearts were not worthy of being his opponent. He turned around and soared into the sky. He continued to fly forward. The situation here surprised everyone. They did not expect that the six experts would not dare to make a move even after joining forces. Could it be that they were not confident in their hearts? The eyes of the great saints watching the battle lit up when they saw this. The elder of the Xintian pavilion smiled. Great, they had found Xiaoji this time. They were very satisfied. It was beyond their expectations. The Lotus ancestor nodded in satisfaction. The young disciples of the Xintian pavilion were shocked. Their patriarch was a great sage. There were very few people who could satisfy their patriarch. At least, they hadn't seen it yet. The experts of the Eternal River Sect and Frostfeather Palace looked extremely cold. Their great saints snorted coldly. At present, it seemed to be doing well, but whether or not it could continue to grow was still unknown. Only a genius who matured would be a true peerless genius. Evidently, they were very displeased with such a scene. Inside the ancient land, Lin Xian escaped the siege of the six experts and continued to rush forward. He was getting closer and closer to the central area. At this point, he had already surpassed the vast majority of the crowd. The number of people in front of him was gradually dwindling until only a few were left. Lin Xian knew one of them. It was Lung Feng. There were a few other unfamiliar faces. They were experts from other sections. However, their auras were extremely terrifying. The few figures in front turned their heads and looked at Lin Xian with a hint of surprise in their eyes. They did not expect that Lin Xian was qualified to come here. Lung Feng was also surprised. He had also seen the scene before. The six experts did not dare to make a move. One could imagine how invincible Lin Xian was in that moment. This guy was beyond his imagination. He was indeed qualified to come here. He now recognized Lin Xian's strength. Moreover, Lin Xian belonged to their camp. He could help him fight against the other experts. Buzz. After Lin Xian arrived, another ear-piercing sound rang out from behind them. Everyone was even more surprised. Who else could come? They turned their heads and discovered that the person who had arrived this time was an expert from the Battle King Peak. He was also very young. His strength and physique were very strong. The fact that he could come here was enough to prove it. Interesting. An expert from the Long River sect smiled. He did not expect a dark horse to appear this time. Unfortunately, you came at the wrong time. You met me. I'm afraid it will be difficult for you to continue. A woman from the Ice Feather Palace said coldly. She said that there were too many people. She had to get rid of a few. As soon as she said that, their faces changed. Many people's eyes fell on Lin Xian. At the same time, the young man who came later also received attention. The two of them were newcomers. It was not easy for them to come here. Who should they get rid of first? Only these two people. If you want to get rid of them, you can try. Lung Feng walked out. His body was emitting a terrifying saber light. Do you think you can touch the people of the Xintian Pavilion as you wish? Lung Feng, do you think no one can suppress you? The expert from the Long River sect walked out. His name was Chongqing. His aura was abnormally terrifying. Today, I want to see if your saber technique is as powerful as the legends say. The aura between the two of them was getting colder. At this time, Lin Xian also spoke. You wanted to kill me before. You want to get rid of me? I want to see if you have the right to do so. Hearing this, the surrounding people were shocked. In their eyes, it was normal for Long Feng and Chongqing to confront each other. After all, both of them were top experts from different sections. Neither of them was willing to submit to the other. When Lin Xian walked out, they felt that he was overestimating himself. No matter how strong this guy was, could he be stronger than Long Feng? Could he compete with Chongqing? Sure enough, Chongqing sneered. Reckless brat, you are not qualified to be my opponent. Whether you are qualified or not, you will know once you try. You released your killing intent to me before. Today, no matter what, I will not let you go. Lin Xian walked out with a terrifying killing intent emanating from his body. Lung Feng also frowned. Junior brother Lin, let me deal with this person. He knew how terrifying Chongqing was. Lin Xian looked at Lung Feng and smiled. Don't worry, he doesn't need senior brother Lung's help. I can deal with him. Bing Wei and the others were stunned. They could not believe it. Chongqing was also stunned. After a while, he looked up to the sky and laughed. His voice was cold. Lung Feng, I didn't expect an arrogant guy to come out of the Xintian Pavilion. Since he wants to die, I will fulfill his wish. The people outside were in an uproar. They did not expect Lin Xian to dare to challenge Chongqing. In their eyes, it was too difficult. Lung Feng was probably the only one who could compete with Chongqing. Isn't this guy a little too reckless? Sword Dance and the others were worried for Lin Xian. The people from the Long River sect sneered. They did not know what was good for them. The great saint sneered. Sure enough, only those who survived were true geniuses. Some geniuses were probably going to fall now. They believed that Chongqing could definitely kill Lung Feng easily. Eliminating a genius with potential would be a great blow to the Xintian Pavilion. Chapter 45-49. Ignorant brat, let me deal with you personally. It will be your honor. Chongqing walked out. As he walked out, 3,000 Daos surged under his feet, looking like 3,000 great Daos. This number was extraordinary. The law energy in Chongqing's body surged continuously. He was almost a late-stage holy venerate. This fellow was even stronger than before. Lung Feng frowned. Even if Lung Feng wanted to make a move, it would be a bitter battle. In fact, Lung Feng was only 50% confident of defeating the other party. If he let Lin Xian make a move now, how confident would he be? Less than 50%. This fellow hid his strength earlier. Bing Wei's lips curled up in a smile. It looked like there was no more suspense in this battle. 3,000 Long River. Peak cultivation. Chongqing was indeed a powerful expert. The people outside sighed in amazement. The Long River sect's people smiled coldly as they looked at the Profound Heaven Pavilion. The Profound Heaven Pavilion's people also frowned heavily. Sword Dance. They felt extremely anxious. Elder, send a voice projection to Lin Gongzi. Don't let him fight. That's right. The Long River sect will definitely try to kill him. If Lin Gongzi loses, he might die. The other elders also looked over. However, Jian Wuk took a deep breath. Very soon, you will see that his strength is far beyond your imagination. Jian Wuk did not say anything else. Instead, he looked forward to it. Just wait. Wait for Lin Xian to show off his brilliance. Lin Xian felt the terrifying law energy from the other party and nodded slightly. The other party was indeed very strong. He was much stronger than the others that Lin Xian had seen. He was still not a match for Lin Xian. Chongqing's serious expression attracted the mockery of the surrounding people. Bing Wei shook her head and smiled coldly. This fellow did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. Making a move now was not a wise choice. Indeed, when Chongqing heard that, his expression turned completely cold. The killing intent in his eyes materialized into a sword that pierced through the sky. Foolish ant. Soon, you will not be able to remain arrogant. The sword formed by Chongqing's gaze directly flew out. Terrifying law energy circled it as it pierced through the sky. Even a middle-stage Holy King would not be able to block this attack. He would be torn to shreds. Countless people cried out in alarm. They were hoping that Lin Xian would be fast enough to dodge this attack. However, Lin Xian did not dodge at all. Instead, he extended a hand and grabbed forward. What an idiot. Many people sneered. Could it be that Yi Futian really thought that he had the strength to contend against Chongqing? Boom. An earth-shattering sound erupted between heaven and earth. Countless cracks spread out in all directions with the two of them as the center. Everyone thought that Lin Xian would have ceased to exist under that attack, or that he would have been torn apart. It's over. Bing Wei shook her head. The other experts also sighed. They were too weak. Lung Feng's face was cold. He pulled out the long saber on his back and was ready to attack. Suddenly, he froze. No way. Lung Feng's face was filled with shock. The smiles on the faces of the others also disappeared. They saw a golden palm reach out from the cracks that filled the sky. It shone with boundless radiance, completely unharmed. The sharp gaze arrow was caught by the golden palm. It was like a fish, unable to escape at all. I told you. You are not strong enough to be arrogant in front of me. Lin Xian's voice rang out. He exerted force in his palm, and the sharp gaze arrow shattered into pieces, falling from his fingers. This guy actually managed to block it. Has his physique already reached such a level? Countless people exclaimed. The experts of the Long River sect could not believe it. The people of the Xintian pavilion also exclaimed. Elder Golden Light's face was filled with shock. He looked at Jian Wuck and asked, could this guy have the legendary physique of the universe? The difference in cultivation between the two of them was too great. Other than the immemorial imperial physique, only the legendary physiques could block it. However, he did not know which physique Yi Futian was. Jian Wuck smiled. That's right, it is indeed the legendary physique. As for the specifics, you will know when you continue watching. The elder of the Golden Light sect was very displeased. You're still keeping us in suspense. However, he was also filled with anticipation. He did not know what kind of power this guy would display next. Why? Is this your strength? I don't deserve to be arrogant. Lin Xian looked forward and smiled faintly. Chongqing's face was ashen. He gritted his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter. He could not believe that Yi Futian was qualified to block his attack. The laws around his body bloomed with a dazzling light. He took a step forward and shouted coldly, "Good kid. So you have been hiding your strength and even cultivated a powerful body refinement technique? However, so what if you have cultivated the Zhang 6 golden body? You are still not my match." The 3,000 Long River seemed to have come alive as it rushed over. It was too terrifying. Everyone exclaimed in shock. Once again, they were worried for Lin Xian. Lin Xian was not afraid. He stretched out his palm and divine flames surged into the sky, forming a golden crow that swept in all directions. Boom, boom, boom. He punched out and collided with the 3,000 Long River. A terrifying power surged. The battle was extremely intense. He blocked it. He really blocked it. The Zhang 6 Golden Body Elder was extremely excited. He looked at Lin Xian as if he was looking at a treasure. Yi Futian's physique was really too strong. It surprised him. Chongqing's face was cold. Yi Futian was actually able to contend with him and not be at a disadvantage. Damn it. 3,000 is one. Suddenly, he let out a roar. His biting cold voice spread out in all directions. The 3,000 Long River quickly merged, forming a long river that was eternal and unique. Accompanying it was an extremely terrifying power of laws. It seemed to have turned into a peerless divine sword, causing countless people to be terrified. Slash. The long river descended from the sky and destroyed everything. Its aura made people's hair stand on end. Countless people were terrified. It was too powerful. This was the ultimate technique of the Long River sect. When Chongqing used it, it was really terrifying to the extreme. Lin Xian naturally felt a sense of danger. It was very powerful, but so what? He roared, and the smile on his face disappeared. The nine-yang divine body was completely released as he punched out. It was like a sun between heaven and earth, charging forward. A dazzling light illuminated the entire ancient land. No one could open their eyes. Elder Golden Light's pupils constricted. What a terrifying power. It was like the light of the sun. Could it be the legendary nine-yang divine body? Boom, boom, boom. The power shook the sky. With a punch, it destroyed everything. The only long river was sent flying. It was covered with cracks. The vast sea swept across the sky. Chongqing was also sent flying. Heavens, what a terrifying power. Was he really just an early-stage Saint King? What kind of physique was that? How could it be so terrifying? The spectators outside were in an uproar, their voices shaking the nine heavens. The experts of the Long River sect also couldn't believe it. They were very confident in Chongqing's strength. How could he be sent flying? One of the great saints said coldly, his eyes bursting with terrifying light. Could it be the legendary divine body? Chapter 45-50. The divine body of Nine Yang, a body of pure yang. It was rumored to be a very powerful body. Who would have thought that it would appear now? Hearing the great saint's words, the surrounding people were in an uproar. No wonder this kid was so strong. He had a super strong body. Many envious voices sounded. The people of Xintian Pavilion were also very surprised. With such a body, his future achievements would be limitless. In the ancient land, Chongqing's expression became very ugly. Bingwei also said, "Be careful. This guy's body is very unusual. It might be the legendary divine body." Divine body? Chongqing's eyes shone fiercely. So what? Kid, if you were at the same level as me, I would turn around and run. Unfortunately, you just entered the Saint King realm, and I'm about to enter the late stage of the Saint King realm. Even if you have a divine body, I will suppress you today. The palm continued to close in, and the single river once again transformed into 3,000 rivers, which swirled around him and fused with him, just like War Armor Class 1. Not only that, but the power in his body also gave off an incomparable aura. Although I don't have the Taigu Imperial body and my body is not as strong as your divine body, my attainments in divine powers and the Great Path are not something you can imagine. Now, I will let you feel my divine powers and precepts. Terrifying power spread out in all directions. It was indeed much stronger than before. Countless people were amazed. The people of the Long River sect also laughed. Indeed, Chongqing's talent in divine powers and profound meanings was rare. It could definitely make up for the difference in physique. More importantly, his cultivation level was much higher than his opponents. So, it was not certain who would win this battle. The 3,000 rivers are all under my control. What do you have to fight me? Chongqing waved his hand again as soon as he finished speaking. Terrifying power surged and formed a cage in an instant, trapping Lin Xian within. Lin Xian struck out with a terrifying fist. He turned into a golden crow and fought back. Useless kid. Chongqing huffed coldly. He also used his trump card. Lin Xian was definitely not his match. As the long rivers surged, the sky and the earth cracked, causing the spectators to continuously retreat. Even Lung Feng was shocked. Lin Xian still had such a secret technique? This was truly beyond his expectations. Man-ruler seal. Lin Xian huffed coldly. Man-ruler seal. He slapped out and shattered Chongqing's attack. Chongqing roared, and his 3,000 clones returned to the celestial kingdom. 3,000 phantoms ran between the heavens and the earth, connecting with each other. Each of the phantoms formed a seal, and there was a vast surging power, like the sound of the heavens. It was as if the celestial kingdom. Lin Xian frowned slightly. The other party's divine ability and nomological laws were indeed very powerful. However, it was time to end this round. The ancient demonic mountain and celestial kingdom, the man-ruler seal swept through the 3,000 doppelgangers. His divine body was pushed to the extreme, and both sides fought fiercely. Bang! Bang! After an intense collision, Lin Xian retreated. His face was pale, but his gaze was even sharper. On the other side, the 3,000 doppelgangers split apart. Chongqing's body fell from the sky and was suppressed by the immemorial demonic mountain. The laws of divine abilities were indeed very strong, but that was all there was to it. Lin Xian stood on the primordial demon mountain and looked down. Chongqing Celestial Xian. The people who were watching the battle outside were stunned. The people of the Eternal River sect couldn't believe it. Damn it! Was the divine body so powerful? Lin Xian was only at the early stage of the Saint King realm. If he reached the late stage of the Saint King realm, how powerful would he be? They couldn't imagine. A supreme saint sighed and looked at Frostfeather Hall. It's the end. Let's do it. The old woman nodded. Then she formed a seal and sent a note in. Inside, Bingwei heard the news. She took a deep breath. Her eyes flashed coldly and she slapped out. An icy wind shot out and danced in the air as it charged at Lin Xian. Lin Xian's divine fire turned into a golden crow and fought against it. In the end, he flew down from the ancient demonic mountain and attacked Bingwei. Chongqing used the 3,000 rivers and blasted open the ancient demonic mountain. Damn it! He roared at the sky and spat out a mouthful of blood. It was too embarrassing. He was defeated by a newcomer in front of tens of thousands of strong cultivators. It was truly a loss of face. He said, "Let's work together. This is the final moment. Kill all the people of the Xintian Pavilion. This ancient land will be ours." That's right. Bingwei also walked out. The ice on her body made her look like a goddess of ice. It seemed that the final battle was about to begin. Countless people were surprised. Lung Feng stood out. "Do you think the Xintian Pavilion is afraid of you?" Lin Xian was even stronger than Chongqing. He could deal with Bingwei without any problem. They still had the advantage. But soon, their advantage was gone. After Chongqing and Bingwei, another man walked out. This person also had a terrifying cold aura around him. It was another person from Frostfeather Hall. His name was Hanyu. He was also a terrifying expert of the middle generation. 3 against 2. It would be dangerous. Many people exclaimed. The people of the Xintian Pavilion also frowned. They would be suppressed, but they still had a chance. Even if they couldn't win, they could escape unscathed. With just you? I'm not afraid even if there's one more person. Lung Feng roared angrily. The saber light on his body was biting cold. It was time to go all out. Chongqing sneered. "Why do you think it's 2 against 3? Are you confident? You're so naive. Do you think the Long River sect only has this little trump card? If there's one more person, can you still resist? Is there anyone else?" The surrounding people were all stunned. Does the Long River sect still have experts? The people of the Xintian Pavilion frowned. They looked at the Long River sect. "What are you doing? Are you bluffing?" The elder of the Long River sect sneered. "You'll find out soon. This time, everyone from the Xintian Pavilion will be eliminated. No one will be able to enter." As soon as he finished speaking, the stalwart man who had been silent all this time walked out. He was an expert from the Battle King Peak. He was like a god of war who had been watching the battle silently. At this moment, he moved. He walked forward and stood beside Chongqing. What? Countless people were stunned. They couldn't believe it. The Battle King Peak had joined forces with the Long River sect? What was going on? 4 experts against 2. This was a complete suppression. It was over. This time, the Xintian Pavilion was really finished. These 4 experts, in addition to the Dark Horse Battle King Feng, were equivalent to 5 against 2. It could be said that the pressure was very great. Lin Xian's side was in danger. "Damn it! When did you make a move?" The elder of the Xintian Pavilion roared. Jin Wuk also frowned. Their information was that the Frostfeather Hall had joined forces with the other party, but they didn't expect the Battle King Peak to join forces with them. Chapter 45-51. The surrounding people were stunned. The three overlords were actually working together to deal with Xintian Pavilion. Xintian Pavilion would definitely lose this time. In the ancient land, Xintian Pavilion only had Lin Xian and Long Feng. No matter how the two of them fought against the five of them, they had no chance of winning. Thinking of the situation that Lin Xian and the others were about to face, they all felt a chill run down their spine. Many people felt their scalps go numb. So this is their true trump card. Jian Wuk frowned. Jian Wu, Jin Shisan, and the other youngsters were completely stunned. They felt despair. In the ancient land, the man from Battle King Peak was called Feng Zhan. He said loudly, "Lung Feng, take your men and leave. Otherwise, you will end up in a miserable state." Lung Feng also said, "I didn't expect you to work together with them. Where's your pride?" The people from Battle King Peak were extremely arrogant and disdained to work together with others. Hence, Long Feng didn't expect such a situation. Feng Zhan shook his head. "Nothing is absolute in this world. They gave me an offer that I couldn't refuse. All right, I can let Lung Feng go. As for this brat, I want him to die." Chong Qing stared at Lin Xian, his eyes filled with killing intent. Previously, he had lost to Lin Xian in front of everyone. He couldn't accept it. He had to kill Lin Xian to prove himself. Lung Feng's expression changed. "Damn it, how dare you? Aren't you afraid that Xintian Pavilion will attack you?" One had to know that defeating and killing were two different concepts. "Lung Feng, get lost quickly. Otherwise, I will kill you too." Chong Qing roared, his eyes filled with terrifying killing intent. "You want to kill me? Just you? Is this your final trump card? What a joke. I thought it was a powerful trump card." Lin Xian's laughter resounded in the area. The surrounding people were stunned. Is this madness before death? I think this brat has gone crazy from despair. That's right. If such a lineup isn't desperate, what kind of trump card does he have? This is a scene of certain death. You are still laughing when you are about to die. You are really hopeless. Bingwei snorted. Lin Xian ignored her. He looked at Long Feng and said, "I will give you two people. You don't have to defeat them, you just have to ensure that you are not injured." "What about the remaining three people?" Lung Feng asked. Lin Xian said proudly, "Leave the remaining three to me. I will let them know what true despair is." "You want to fight one against three?" Lung Feng exclaimed. Countless people were stupefied. Was this brat speaking the truth? Chong Qing laughed loudly. "Bingwei, did you hear that? What did he say? He wanted to fight one against three. Brat, even if the weakest three were given to you, you still wouldn't be able to defeat them. Not to mention three, even two people would be enough to completely suppress you. I've said it before, your trump cards are nothing in front of me. Do you think you're strong just because you've joined hands today? I will let you know the consequences of offending me." Lin Xian's voice was sonorous. Then he said, "Leave these three to me. As for the other two, you can deal with them yourself." After he finished speaking, his large hand swept across the sky and slapped forward. This move enveloped Chong Qing, Bingwei, and Feng Zhan. These were the three strongest people. "You're courting death." Bing was slightly angry. Was the other party looking down on her? Feng Zhan's face also darkened. "I want to see how arrogant you are." Chong Qing laughed loudly. "Stupid ant, I'll kill you in one move." As soon as the three of them finished speaking, a terrifying power soared into the sky and attacked the palm in the sky. In an instant, the wind and clouds changed, and countless large cracks spread out. The people in the distance were stunned when they saw this scene. Were they really going to fight? Many people closed their eyes, not daring to see Lin Xian's end. Was there still hope? The elders of Xintian Pavilion also sighed. Lin Xian was strong and could defeat Chong Qing. He also had a divine body, but unfortunately, he was facing three experts this time. Whether it was Bingwei or Feng Zhan, they were not weaker than Chong Qing. If Lin Xian's cultivation had reached the middle stage of the Saint King realm, he would definitely have the strength to fight. But it was still too early now. Not good. Lung Feng saw this scene and wanted to intervene, but in the end, another expert from Ice Feather Palace and the Dark Horse from Battle King Peak stopped him. "Your opponent is us. The aura from the two of them was equally terrifying. Lung Feng's face was cold. Even he felt pressured when facing two experts, let alone Lin Xian, who was facing three people. In front, Bing Wei and the other two completely surrounded Lin Xian. They released their laws, wanting to suppress Lin Xian. Lin Xian stood there and felt the pressure around him, but the corner of his mouth curled up in a cold smile. The three of them were indeed strong. When the three of them joined forces, it was even more terrifying. They had already surpassed Zhan Songsheng and the other two. But so what? Back then, the holy heaven's old ancestor had not been able to kill him, let alone the three of them. Kid, you should be proud that you can die in our hands, Chongqing said coldly. Indeed, it was a great honor for Lin Xian to be attacked by the three experts. Lin Xian laughed when he heard that. Do you really think that the three of you can kill me? I'll give you a chance to scram. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. You're courting death. Hurry up and attack. The three of them released their laws. Lin Xian snorted as well. His 9-yang divine body shone brightly, as if he had turned into a sun war god. Powerful energy surged out in an instant. When the three of them felt the energy, their faces changed. Especially Chongqing, who was extremely shocked. He realized that his current power was even stronger than when he had fought with Lin Xian previously. In other words, Lin Xian did not use his full strength when he fought with Lin Xian previously. Damn it, how strong is Lin Xian now? Let's go. At this moment, Feng Zhan attacked. He punched out, and the wind blades that filled the sky gathered on his fist. He then slammed it forward. This palm was called the Divine Wind Palm. This was War King Peak's ultimate skill. The people in the distance exclaimed. This ability was extremely terrifying. With a single palm, the wind and clouds of the 9 heavens changed. It could instantly destroy a world. Bing Wei also attacked. Her palms formed a seal, and 2 ice phoenixes appeared, intertwining with each other. They attacked Lin Xian from 2 different directions. The sky was filled with ice, freezing the surroundings. The ice laws could freeze everything. Go to hell, kid. Chongqing also attacked. The 3,000 rivers turned into one, circling around his palm as he slammed it out. The 3 top-notch fighters struck out at Lin Xian at that moment. If Lin Xian could not withstand it, he would be instantly turned into ashes. It's over. This battle is over. The person in the distance sighed. The people of the Eternal River sect sneered. He was proud enough to be famous in the world, even though he had fallen from today onwards. It was a pity for such a genius. The experts of the Frost Feather Hall also sighed. The people of the Xintian Pavilion gritted their teeth. Damn it! The 2 great saints also looked gloomy, and their eyes were emitting a biting cold killing intent. They did not attack because the other 3 sects also had great saints. If they attacked, the flames of war would be even greater. When the time came, there would be no end to it. They could only say that they were not prepared enough to let the 3 sects join forces. Chapter 45-52. Lin Xian took a deep breath in the face of the 3's attacks. He stopped smiling. In the next moment, he attacked the Wind God Palm with his Man-Ruler seal. Boom! He exerted the power of his divine body to the extreme. Like a Man-Ruler, he struck out with his palm, extinguishing the storm in the sky. When the 2 collided, the sky fell and the earth cracked. The Wind God Palm was instantly suppressed and became dim. Boom! After a moment of stalemate, the Wind God Palm was shattered. Feng Zhan retreated, his face pale. How is this possible? He couldn't believe that his full-strength attack couldn't do anything to Lin Xian. What kind of palm was that just now? It was like a celestial emperor had descended with boundless dominance. After repelling Feng Zhan, Lin Xian condensed countless laws in his left hand, forming a sword chi that slashed at the 2 ice phoenixes. The sword slashed out, the sky fell, and the earth cracked. The ice and sword chi of the 2 ice phoenixes collided, creating a loud sound. Countless amounts of frost attempted to seal the sword chi. However, the might of this sword chi was simply too strong. The sword chi was incomparably sharp and could destroy everything. The 2 ice phoenixes were split apart by the sword. Fairy Bing Wei was also sent flying, vomiting blood. Her face was full of shock. In the blink of an eye, the two experts were injured and retreated, leaving only Chongqing. Facing the terrifying palm, Lin Xian didn't attack. The golden light in his eyes burst out, forming endless runes. Are you arrogant? Are you strong? But you can't even withstand a single blow from me. Actually, you're just an ant. Lin Xian's soul attack rushed into the opponent's mind, causing his confidence to collapse. Chongqing roared crazily as if he had gone mad. He also vomited blood. The surrounding people were stunned. Facing the top attacks of three experts, this was a scene of certain death. Lin Xian only threw out a punch, a sword, and a gaze, and it was enough to destroy the situation. This was simply heaven-defying. Damn it, I'm not dreaming, am I? Countless people exclaimed. The Eternal River Sect's expert's pupils shrank. Impossible. How did he do it? The people of the Ice Palace also sucked in a cold breath. That sword was too sharp. Didn't he have a divine body? How could he be an unparalleled swordsman? Could a person be proficient in two divine arts? No, it wasn't just two. There was a final gaze. A single glance was enough to cause Chongqing to collapse. This was definitely a soul attack. This person actually possessed three ultimate techniques. It was truly inconceivable. At this moment, the great sage's eyes also exploded with a piercingly cold light as he stared fixedly at Lin Xian. Supreme Saint Darkfeather laughed. What a sure death situation. What an exceptional genius. He sneered. Geniuses were geniuses, regardless of whether they were alive or dead. They were incomparable to others. The faces of the great saints of the other sects turned cold. Those youngsters, on the other hand, were in complete disbelief. In the face of such an attack, they probably wouldn't even have the chance to retaliate. Little did they know that although Lin Xian had only used 3 moves, they were the combination of his mystiques and ultimate techniques. Physique, sword art, and eye technique were all his strongest attacks. Therefore, defeating 3 powerful opponents in 3 moves was completely within his expectations. It's too early for you to be happy. Long River Sect's old Zhang snorted coldly. Although he had defeated the 3 of them, they still had the strength to fight. What that brat used just now should be his strongest technique, right? How many times could he use that kind of technique? Victory and defeat were decided. In the ancient land, Feng Zhan sighed. I've really underestimated you. The power of the divine body is indeed worthy of its reputation. However, the 3 of us still have many trump cards and ultimate techniques that we haven't used yet. So, you should be prepared to face despair. With an angry roar, he charged forward. He was also an expert in close combat. His physique was very strong, and he cultivated the Battle King Peak's ultimate treasure body. Bing Wei and Chongqing were the same. They also charged forward. Lin Xian snorted coldly without fear. He used the 10 ultimate swords with one hand and formed a powerful fist with the other. At the same time, his eyes opened and closed, causing one's soul to tremble. Kill. Lin Xian attacked. He punched out, destroying everything. That fist seemed to have turned into a peerless sun, bringing with it unparalleled power. Another sword slash destroyed heaven and earth. Lin Xian's sword chi didn't stop. It turned into the sharpest divine sword, and nothing could stop it. As for his soul eye technique, when his gaze swept across everyone's soul, it was as if it was about to split open. They withstood the immense pressure. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Xian took the initiative to attack. The first to collapse was Chongqing. His soul was once again severely injured. He spat out blood and flew backward. Then, he was cut in half by the sword chi. Feng Zhan retreated again. At this moment, his body turned into a bloody mist. In front of the powerful divine body, his ultimate treasure body couldn't withstand a single blow. Ice Phoenix condensed a sky full of frost, trying to freeze the sword light that was coming over. However, she failed. This sword strike turned her arms into nothingness. The 3 of them had been defeated previously, and this time, the 3 of them were seriously injured. The battle was very fast. It seemed to have ended in the blink of an eye. Lin Xian stood there, as if he hadn't used all his strength. Damn it, what kind of sword technique are you cultivating? Ice Phoenix gritted her teeth and roared. She felt that it wasn't any weaker than the 9 Yang divine body. It was definitely a legendary sword technique. And that eye technique, although it wasn't deliberately targeted at them, it still made their hair stand on end. They knew that the other party was unfathomable. Perhaps only a late-stage expert could suppress him. The others couldn't. They had lost this battle. They smiled bitterly. They couldn't accept it. But that was the truth. We lost this battle. We won't go to our destination. Bing Wei shook her head. On the other side, Lung Feng also stopped. The other two didn't attack anymore. They were already scared out of their wits. Lung Feng was also extremely shocked. Previously, he thought that Lin Xian wasn't strong enough. Later, he recognized Lin Xian's strength. Later, he was worried about Lin Xian. Now, he was completely stunned. Fortunately, he didn't really fight with Lin Xian that day. Otherwise, he would have lost miserably. Looking at the retreating figures of these people, Lin Xian said coldly, "You can leave, but I can't." Lin Xian waved his hand and grabbed at Chongqing. Chongqing's soul was severely injured. At this moment, he couldn't resist at all. He was instantly grabbed and pressed to the ground. Bing Wei's expression changed. "What are you trying to do?" Lin Xian snorted. "What do you think I'm trying to do? He wanted to kill me before. Naturally, I can't let him live. If you kill him, you won't be afraid of those great saints outside, right?" Feng Zhan was also shocked. This guy is crazy. Although he was defeated, he was still a top expert. He still had a long way to go. If he died now, how could the Long River sect let this matter go? "Ancestor, save me." Chongqing cried for help in horror. The elders of the Long River sect outside shouted angrily, "How dare you!" A great saint waved his hand and grabbed at the ancient land in front of him. However, at this moment, the sky full of lotuses condensed into a sky screen and blocked that hand. The lotus ancestor laughed. "Why? Do you want to fight? Have you forgotten the rules? Previously, when the three of you surrounded Lin Xian, we followed the rules and didn't attack. Now that you want to attack, it's impossible." He discovered that there was an even more mysterious aura under the ground. Let's take a look. Lin Xian used sword chi to tear open the ground and walked down. He didn't know how long he had flown, but he seemed to have arrived in hell. At this moment, there was an extremely terrifying pressure around him. He saw that there was an even more terrifying great Tao and power under the ground. It was dozens or even hundreds of times more than above. However, he didn't dare to absorb it because there were many coffins below. There were a total of 10. Each of them had an ancient aura and were wrapped in endless great Tao. There was actually someone buried under the ancient land. Who was it? He had never heard of it before. Moreover, it seemed that it was very old. Could it be that it was because he had absorbed too much power with the great dragon sword spirit? That was why the coffins were attacking. Thinking of this, his hair stood on end. At this moment, he took a few steps back. He felt as if there was a pair of extremely terrifying eyes staring at him. Although none of the coffins were opened, the feeling was very real. He couldn't be wrong. Was the person inside still alive? His scalp went numb, and he instantly retreated. As he rose into the air, he felt the pressure slowly weaken. Finally, he returned to the ground again. He heaved a sigh of relief. Now that his physique had become stronger than before, and his dragon soul had also been improved. If he stayed here any longer, there would be unknown danger. Therefore, Lin Xian also prepared to come out. His figure flickered, and he left the ancient land. The people outside were all waiting. When they saw Lin Xian come out, they heaved a sigh of relief. He had finally come out. He wondered how strong this brat was. Countless people looked at Lin Xian's figure flying over with envy in their eyes. Chapter 45-54. You finally came out. Jin Wuck and the others also went up to welcome him. The people of the Long River sect looked over with cold expressions. Their genius had already fallen. How despicable. One of the elders said coldly, "Kid, keep a low profile in the future." Otherwise, if you continue to be arrogant, you might fall at any time. This was a threat that made one's hair stand on end. Lin Xian didn't care at all. Let's see who dares to touch him. Old Ancestor Dark Feather also snorted coldly. A powerful sage aura swept across the surroundings. Then, the two great sages waved their hands. Let's go. They soared into the sky. Damn it. The people of the Long River sect gritted their teeth. Their great sage said, "Go. Investigate everything about this kid for me." They had to figure it out. Obviously, they wouldn't let this matter rest. Lin Xian and the others returned to the Xintian Pavilion and held a banquet. This was a victory that belonged to the Xintian Pavilion. This time, they had actually defeated the three great sections. Of course, all of this was thanks to Lin Xian. Those sages who didn't go were also surprised when they heard the news. This Lin Xian was actually so powerful? He was simply like a god. Countless people came over to congratulate them. Those people looked at Lin Xian differently. Although he was a newcomer, he was a genius that was even more top-notch than Lung Feng. Lung Feng also came over and apologized first. Previously, he was too rude to Lin Xian. At the same time, he thanked him. It was all thanks to Lin Xian that he had the chance to be tempered by the ancient land. Lin Xian smiled and said, "You're too polite. We're all from the Xintian Pavilion. Naturally, we have to help each other." Yes, that's right. These people clenched their fists, their faces filled with excitement. When he was free, Lin Xian found Jian Wuk and asked, "Senior, what's so magical about this ancient land? Are there other people living inside?" He was very shocked by those ancient coffins. Jian Wuk said, "This place is very mysterious. Every 100 years, we only work together to open it once. At other times, it's sealed and no one can enter. It's even more impossible for someone to live there." There were some legends everywhere. Some said that a great battle had taken place here. There were also people who said that in the past, this was the place where some peerless experts had lived. Even the young great emperor had been there. However, no one knew exactly what it was. Lin Xian asked, "Did no one investigate?" Whether it was the Dark Sky Pavilion, the Long River sect, or the other top sects, they all had great sages. And there was more than one of them. If these great sages joined forces, they should be able to sweep through everything. Jian Wuk said. Naturally, he did, but he didn't find anything. In fact, back in the day, there was a great sage who tried to force his way through, only to be severely injured. It was a narrow escape. Ever since then, the great sages had been in awe of that place. They only let the younger generation compete for the limelight, but they never took a step inside. A great sage had been severely injured. Lin Xian was shaken. Presumably, it was the aura emanating from the ancient coffin beneath the earth. Fortunately, he did not act rashly back then. Otherwise, he would have been in danger. Shaking his head, Lin Xian did not think about this matter anymore. The other elders also walked over. "Little guy, you are not ordinary. If you have any questions about cultivation in the future, you can ask me anytime." "That's right, I also want to spar with you." The elder from the Golden Light sect also walked over. As for the legendary divine body, he also wanted to see its power. Lin Xian looked at these experts and smiled. "Then, I will disturb all of you in the future." After the banquet ended, Lin Xian rested for 3 days. Then, he started to visit the elders. These elders were all very strong. Many of them were at the peak of the sage realm. Lin Xian learned a lot from sparring with such people. Morning, Lin Xian got up and talked about the Tao of the sword with Jian Wuk. The sword chi on their bodies clashed continuously. Lin Xian's sword was sharp and could cut through everything. Jian Wuk's sword chi walked a different path. It was very light and agile, like an antelope hanging its horn, ethereal and traceless. These were two completely different Tao of the sword. At this moment, the two of them were fighting. Jian Wuk suppressed his cultivation. When the two of them fought, the swordsmen were stunned. Jian Wuk was too strong. He could actually compete with Elder Wuk's Tao of the sword. One had to know that Jian Wuk's sword skills were very strong. Although he was only a late-stage Sage King, he could fight against a peak Sage King. He was a top swordsman. There were very few people who could compete with him in the Tao of the sword. Lin Xian also felt a lot. Next, he found the elder from the Golden Light sect to spar with his body. The elder from the Golden Light sect was very excited. "Little guy, let's not use the laws." As he spoke, he sealed his cultivation and laws. Lin Xian did the same. The two of them used the power of their bodies to spar and fought for 3 days and 3 nights. It was very carefree. He had never fought so happily before. The elder with the golden body looked up to the sky and laughed. Although he was an old man, there were no wrinkles on his face. Other than his white hair, he looked no different from a young man. Especially the other party's body. It was too strong. It was like a Vajra had descended. "Your little guy is too extraordinary. Jinwuk's sword is too strong. There are very few people in the Sage King realm who can compete with my body, but you can do it alone. It is really surprising. Senior is too polite." Lin Xian smiled. Purple flames danced in the sky and formed a figure. It was a peerless woman. She had a noble aura. She smiled and said, "Old man, you have been here for too long. It's time for me to spar." Lin Xian was stunned. It seemed that after he displayed his talent, the elders were very interested in him. Not only was the 9-yang divine body strong, its flames were unparalleled. "So, I am here to experience it." Endless flames appeared in the woman's hand. Then, they formed a fire phoenix and flew down. Lin Xian used all his strength to activate the 9-yang divine flames to fight against it. Another huge battle. For the next half a year, Lin Xian sparred with these elders every day. Lin Xian was thinking about how to improve on some of the areas where he was lacking. During this period of time, his strength had increased by leaps and bounds. On the other side, the Long River sect was also searching for information about Lin Xian. Soon, all sorts of information about Lin Xian was gathered in their hands. This fella came from another world. Previously, he was a battle servant in the Thousand Mountain Grotto. Later on, his strength was outstanding. He won the competition for a spouse and became the prince consort. One piece of news after another appeared in front of these elders. The great sage asked, "Is there any more valuable news?" "Yes, there is." The elders below said, "This fella is really gutsy. He fought a life and death battle with an elder of the Thousand Mountain Grotto. On the arena, he killed the Star Elder in front of everyone. Not only that, he even killed a genius of the Star race. Later on, he was taken away by Jinwuk. It was said that after Jinwuk took that lad away, another mysterious powerful being killed an elder of the Star race with a single palm strike. It could be said that this lad had offended Ethereal Peak thoroughly. Chapter 45-55. When the surrounding people heard this, they gasped. Was this really the work of a young man? To be honest, even they would not dare to be so arrogant. The Misty Peak was not weaker than the Long River sect. Was there someone helping him behind the scenes? Someone frowned. Another elder said, "There was still some news here, but there was no evidence." It seemed that his eye technique was related to the Rinnegan. Everyone was even more shocked when they heard this. The Rinnegan was a legendary existence. Some people wondered if it was the ancient Chinquan city. He went there too? Of course, they knew what happened in the ancient Chinquan city, but they did not have the chance to go there. They were in the Tianxian continent. The Dark Sky Pavilion and the Long River sect were in the eastern zone of the Tianxian continent. The Misty Peak and the other sects were in the northern zone of the Tianxian continent. The distance between the two sides was still very far, unless they got the news in advance. Otherwise, the treasure would have disappeared by the time they got there. "Forefather, should we make a move?" Those people all looked forward. The great saint opened his eyes. This kid was now a member of the Dark Sky Pavilion. With the talent he had shown, the Dark Sky Pavilion would definitely protect him. It would be difficult for us to make a move. Should we join forces with the Ice Feather Palace? Someone suggested. Another elder shook his head. "I'm afraid it's not a good idea. If he really has the Rinnegan, even if we get it, we will have to fight with the Ice Feather Palace and the War King Peak. Not to mention the Rinnegan is not easy to get. If the news gets out, our Long River sect will be in danger of being annihilated." "Is it that serious?" Some people were surprised. Another elder said that in the ancient Chinquan city, other than the Misty Peak, there was an even more terrifying existence that came. It was said that he was at the peak of the Great Saint realm and used the Six Paths body. Then he should be the sect master of the Six Paths sect. He was the descendant of the legendary Kuin Great Saint. He was determined to get the Rinnegan. Competing with such a person would only result in certain death. So we can't take the Rinnegan. However, we can spread the news. I think the Six Paths sect will definitely send people to capture that kid. At that time, the Dark Sky Pavilion will be in trouble. Upon hearing this, the powerhouses of the Long River sect smirked coldly. Great. The Six Dao sect was stronger than them. If the Six Dao sect made a move, the mysterious Heaven Pavilion would not be able to withstand it. Soon, they sent people to contact the Six Dao sect. Six Dao sect. It was also a sect in the Tianxian continent. It was extremely terrifying and had inherited the Kuin Great Saint's legacy. It also possessed the Six-Path body. His strength was terrifying. Last time in Shinkuin Ancient City, it was the suzerain of the Six Paths Kuin Su Supreme Sage, went there personally. His avatar was destroyed by the Rinnegan. This was unbearable for him. Therefore, he once again sent people to Shinkuin Ancient City to investigate. She would not let any of those people from Tianji Town go. When the people of the Six Dao sect went to investigate, Misty Peak directly sent a message, saying that he knew the whereabouts of the Rinnegan. The people of the Six Dao sect were overjoyed and quickly asked. It turned out that it was very likely that someone called Lin Xian had obtained it. Did you see it with your own eyes? The expert from the Six Dao sect coldly asked. The people of Ethereal Peak said that they didn't see it with their own eyes, but we have strong evidence. That was because that brat possessed the Heavenly Fate Divine Eyes. He was a member of the Heavenly Fate clan. The chances of him obtaining the Rinnegan were much higher than the others. What? He possessed the Heavenly Fate Divine Eyes? The people of the Six Dao sect attached great importance to him. They quickly sent this news back. At the same time, they asked again where that brat was now. If they could capture him, it would definitely be a great merit. Their sect would definitely reward them. Unfortunately, that guy wasn't here. The people of Misty Peak said that the brat had been taken away by Jianwuk of the Xintian Pavilion. It seemed that he had joined the Xintian Pavilion. The Xintian Pavilion? The people of the Six Dao sect quickly returned. Soon, they set off for the Xintian Pavilion again. Not long after, they received another piece of news. It was the news from the Long River sect. They said that they had discovered the existence of the Rinnegan. The person was in the Xintian Pavilion. His name was Lin Xian. The people of the Six Dao sect were greatly shocked. This time, they had sent a great sage. They had to suppress him and bring him back successfully. When this great sage came, he was very secretive. Other than the people of the Long River sect, no one else knew. He did it to prevent Lin Xian from escaping. In a mountain range, two figures flew back. They were the people of the Long River sect. Previously, the two of them were responsible for sending the news to the Six Dao sect. Now, they were preparing to return. The two of them were riding on an ice-flying sword. They were both late-stage great sage kings and were powerful. They were two elders. The two of them chatted. That brat was dead for sure. He was not qualified to have the Rinnegan. This time, a great sage had come. It would definitely be difficult for him to escape. Even if the people of the Xintian Pavilion protected him, he would definitely die. The two of them sneered and sped up. At this moment, a voice came from behind them. Rinnegan? Where did you get the news? Who is it? The pupils of the two elders of the Long River sect constricted. They suddenly turned around. The two of them each took a picture. The void behind them collapsed. The void within 1,000,000 miles shattered. However, there was no one at all. What was going on? The two of them turned around and were shocked. They almost fell off the flying sword. Because there was a figure standing in front of them. That person was wearing an ancient and tattered robe. His gray hair covered his face, making it hard to see his face clearly. However, his eyes were like lightning. He spoke coldly again. Do you know about the Rinnegan? *M*, who are you? How dare you go against the Long River sect? The two elders began to fight. They looked at each other, and then suddenly erupted. The monstrous laws turned into a giant dragon and charged forward. However, it was useless. This time, they hit nothing but air. In the next moment, they saw a pair of piercingly cold eyes that kept changing. It was a pair of green eyes that controlled their souls. The two elders knelt on the ground. They were extremely submissive. The gray-haired man began to ask, and soon, everything was clear. Lin Xian, the Xintian sect. He searched the other party's soul again. Soon, he saw the illusion of a young man. It was him. The gray-haired man's pupils constricted, and his face was filled with surprise. He didn't expect it to be this little guy. Interesting. His figure flickered, and he disappeared into the void. Xintian Pavilion. Lin Xian was cultivating inside. Every day, he would spar with a few elders and discuss the great Tao. His strength was steadily increasing. At this moment, he still didn't know that a crisis was coming. Chapter 45-56. Not to mention him, even the Xintian Pavilion didn't know because they couldn't figure it out. Not only did Lin Xian have the 9 young divine body, but he also had the Rinnegan. On this day, a figure arrived outside the Xintian Pavilion. It was a gray-haired man with a mysterious aura. He descended from the sky. "Who are you?" The guards of the Xintian Pavilion walked out and asked coldly. The gray-haired man smiled and said, "You won't know my name even if I tell you. I'm here to look for Lin Xian. He should be in your Xintian Pavilion, right? Take me to see him." "You're looking for Lin Gongzi?" The guards were surprised. Lin Xian's reputation had already spread throughout the entire Xintian Pavilion. No one didn't know. It was because of Lin Xian that the Xintian Pavilion was able to turn defeat into victory and hold their heads high. One of the guards said, "Okay, please follow me." Since he was here to look for Lin Xian, he was a guest. They respectfully invited him in. In addition, another guard went to look for Lin Xian. "Lin Gongzi, a friend of yours is here to look for you." In the territory of the Zhang 6 Golden Body Elder, the guard said respectfully. Lin Xian stood up in surprise. "Who is my friend? Could it be one of the friends from the true spirit world that year?" He was very surprised and even a little curious. The guard said, "I don't know. At this moment, he has already been brought to Elder Wuk's territory. Lin Gongzi would know when he went there." Lin Xian nodded and then looked at Elder Jingguang. "Senior, I won't spar with you today. I still have something to do." Then, he left. Immortal cranes danced in the sky, and spiritual herbs bloomed. This courtyard was very quiet. When Lin Xian landed, he saw a figure in front of him with his back facing him. "Who are you?" He was surprised, because he didn't know this figure. The figure turned around. "It's you." Lin Xian was really stunned. The gray-haired man also smiled. "Yes, that's right. It's me. Lin Gongzi, long time no see." Lin Xian was shocked. This person was none other than the person he had rescued from the Divination Pavilion. There were a total of 3 people who had come out of the Divination Pavilion with him. 2 of them were white-haired old men who had wanted to make a move on him, but they had left in the end. The other one was this gray-haired man. He had been silent the entire time and had even warned him to be careful. Later on, when so many great sages arrived in Qinkuan City, they all left. Who would have thought that they would run into Yang Qi here? "So it's you. How should I address you? Are you looking for me? What is it?" Lin Xian asked. "My name is Xiao Mu, and I'm here to find you for something. The Qian Grand Sage's final Rinnegan was given to you, right?" Upon hearing this, Lin Xian's pupils shrank. "Are you kidding me? Who told you that? Could it be that you came to me because of this? I have to say, you're really audacious. You dare to come here without any evidence. Aren't you afraid that Xintian Pavilion will make a move? You don't have to be so agitated. I don't have any ideas about the Rinnegan. I don't care if you took it or not. I'm just here to remind you. Your secret has already been known by others, and the 6th Tao sect has already sent a great sage here. They should be here in a few days. They're here to capture you. I'm here to tell you this news." Lin Xian was stunned when he heard this. Had the news spread? The 6th Tao sect should be the sect that the peak great sage was in. He had the 6th Tao body and definitely wanted the Rinnegan. However, who spread the news? No one should know. Was this person trying to test him? Lin Xian didn't speak, and his expression became even more gloomy. Xiaomu said, I'm not testing you. I met the people of the Long River sect on the way and heard them talking about this news. I used my eye technique to collect their souls and obtained this news. The people of the Long River sect guessed that you had the Rinnegan and reported it to the Sixth Dao sect. Moreover, the people of the Misty Peak also wanted to give the news to the Sixth Dao sect, so the Sixth Dao sect came. Damn it, the Misty Peak and the Long River sect. Lin Xian clenched his teeth. He said, I said that I didn't get the Rinnegan, but you didn't believe it. Since you don't believe it, the others won't believe it either. So, whether I got it or not, it seems that I have to avoid this crisis. Thank you for telling me. What should you ask for? Lin Xian asked. Just say it. As long as I can do it, I won't refuse. I did come to find you for something, but let me make one thing clear. Although I'm interested in the Rinnegan, I won't ask for it. Whether you have it or not, even if you do, I won't do it. After all, if I get the Rinnegan, I will be hunted by the Sixth Dao sect for a lifetime. I don't have the strength to fight against them. Moreover, I've been sealed in the Heaven's Secret Pavilion for more than 5,000 years and don't have much lifespan left. I want to live a peaceful life, so you don't have to worry about me harming you. As for the conditions, you are an eye technique expert, and it seems that you can't stay here any longer. So, I want to invite you to my clan. Go to your clan? Lin Xian frowned. Some time ago, I went back to my clan and found that my daughter has grown up and has become an extremely terrifying eye technique expert. However, because I've disappeared for 5,000 years, I didn't recognize her. Moreover, I'm afraid that there are some people in the clan who want to harm her. So, I hope that you can help her. Is that all? Lin Xian was surprised. Xiaomu nodded. That's right, that's all. You should know that I have no ill intentions towards you. Otherwise, I would have already done it in the Heaven's Secret Pavilion. Lin Xian understood this point. Indeed, the other party had told him to be careful before, and now he came to give him such a big news. He was surprised and grateful. Lin Xian said, as long as what you say is true, I'll leave immediately. Moreover, I can consider helping your daughter. But before that, I have to discuss with the people of the Xintian Pavilion. After that, Lin Xian went to find Jian Wu and Jian Shisan and told them to treat Xiaomu well. As for him, he found Jian Wuk and explained the situation. Jian Wuk was shocked. Damn it! The people of the Sixth Dao sect dare to come? Moreover, it's a great sage. This is really a big matter. Then you can't stay here any longer. You have to leave quickly. Lin Xian nodded. I have the same plan. I'm preparing to go out and travel. Prepare yourself. I'll also get the Xintian Pavilion to prepare to use the teleportation array. Jian Wuk left. He ordered people to prepare the teleportation array while he went to see Lord Xiangtian. When they arrived at the mysterious cave, Jian Wuk explained the situation. Lord Xiangtian's voice rang out. Oh, he's leaving? I originally wanted to see him after a while, but now it seems that I have to meet him in advance. Bring him here. Jian Wuk accepted the order and returned to bring Lin Xian to the entrance of the mysterious cave. Then, he left. Lin Xian was also nervous. He knew that he was meeting the pavilion master of the Xintian Pavilion, Lord Xiangtian. He was the person Xia Juyo asked him to find. Xiangtian's voice rang out. I'm still in seclusion and can't come out. Elder Xia, is he all right? Chapter 45-57. Hearing this, Lin Xian took a deep breath. Lord Xiangtian, I finally found you. Old Xia asked me to find you. I didn't have any clue at all. I didn't expect to meet you here. As for old Xia's situation, Lin Xian shook his head and sighed. He wasn't doing very well. His lifespan seemed to be almost up. Previously, he had been sealed, but when he fought against the world of mortals, he had used up even more of his power. Now, he was probably sealed again. But even so, the situation wasn't optimistic. If he couldn't find a way to extend his lifespan, he would probably die within 100 years. Within 100 years? Xiangtian also took a deep breath. He said, I will use the power of the Xintian Pavilion to search for those heavenly treasures. As for the final result, I'm not sure. Lin Xian clenched his fists and said, Lord Xiang Tian, don't worry. I will definitely extend old Xia's lifespan. Lin Xian's eyes were filled with determination. Xia Zhiyo had saved his life more than once. He would definitely repay this debt of gratitude. Sometimes, it was difficult to escape the cycle of life and death. Even great emperors had to undergo reincarnation. It was difficult to live forever. Lord Xiang Tian sighed. He was a great sage and was very powerful, but the higher one's cultivation level, the more they could see. He didn't continue this topic. Instead, he said, I heard that there are already great sages from the Sixth Tao sect looking for you. There's no time to lose. You should leave first. We'll help you block them here. You can come back after things calm down. Lin Xian nodded and said, Oh right, Lord Xiang Tian, there's a person called Xiao Mu. He claims to be from the Xiao family. He should be from the I clan. He invited me. Do you think it's reliable? Xiao Mu, from the Xiao family. Lord Xiang Tian paused for a moment and said, So it's him. He hasn't appeared for nearly 5,000 years. So he's trapped in the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. I've also heard of this person. He's a top genius in eye techniques. He's straightforward and upright. I don't think he'll harm you. So, you can go with him. Lin Xian didn't have anything to prepare. His things were all in his storage ring. Since he had already seen Lord Xiang Tian, he could leave. So he went back and found Xiao Mu. He said, Senior, let's go. Jian Wuk led the two of them to the teleportation array. The teleportation array was activated and the spatial laws enveloped them. The two figures disappeared without a trace. One day later, suddenly, a huge force came down from the sky, enveloping the entire Xintian pavilion. Endless barriers appeared in all directions, sealing the entire world. The saints in the Xintian pavilion all looked up at the sky. What was going on? Someone wanted to attack the Xintian pavilion? Jian Wuk walked out with a solemn expression. Luckily, they had acted quickly. They didn't expect that after just a day, the other party would come. If he was a day late, Lin Xian might not be able to leave. Who dares to behave atrociously in my profound heaven pavilion? The Zhang 6 golden body elder snorted coldly. The other elders all walked out and frowned. It's the aura of a great sage. Don't act rashly, Jian Wuk said in a deep voice. The others also had solemn expressions. Which side did the great sage come from? Only Jian Wuk and a few others knew about Lin Xian's matter. The other elders didn't know, so they were very puzzled. Wang, where did you come from? Why did you come to my Xintian pavilion? The lotus ancestor walked out, lotuses blooming with each step. I am from the Sixth Tao sect. Where is Lin Xian? Tell him to come out. A cold voice came from the sky. The surrounding people were shocked. The other party came to find Lin Xian. Damn it. Did they want to capture Lin Xian? They could feel the biting cold killing intent from the other party. Why are you looking for Lin Xian? The lotus ancestor asked. The great sage of the Sixth Tao sect snorted coldly. He took something that he shouldn't have. I will return it to its rightful owner. Damn it, they really came for Lin Xian. Some of the younger disciples clenched their fists. Lung Rufing's expression also changed. Lin Xian provoked a great sage. He was really in danger. Master, save him. That's right. Ancestor, we can't let Lin Xian be in danger. The other sages all spoke out. Lin Xian had made their Xintian pavilion proud before. They had already recognized Lin Xian in their hearts. Now that someone came to find trouble with Lin Xian, they naturally didn't want to. The elders also gritted their teeth. During this period of time, they had sparred with Lin Xian every day. They also recognized this young junior. This was the future. A genius with limitless possibilities could grow. They couldn't allow him to be in any danger. The lotus ancestor sneered. Something that he shouldn't have taken? What was it that he didn't know? Say it. You don't need to know more. Just tell him to come out. The great sage in the sky was very powerful. The lotus ancestor was also angry. Get it clear. This is the Xintian pavilion, not the Sixth Tao sect. It's not your turn to behave atrociously. With a cold shout, thousands of lotuses bloomed in the sky as if they wanted to suppress the 9 heavens. Do you dare to attack me? Do you want to be enemies with the Sixth Tao sect? The figure in the sky also descended. It was a middle-aged man. He walked with a majestic gait. The strength of his body was very powerful. His physique was like a fiend god. The lotuses in the sky kept swaying. The surrounding people held their breath. They felt their hair stand on end. Are the two great sages going to fight? Don't you understand what he said? This is not the Sixth Tao sect. It's not your turn to behave atrociously. With another cold shout, a young man flew up. A terrifying figure swept in all directions. His black wings covered the sky and covered the earth. Ancestor Darkfeather. Many people cried out in surprise. This was great. Another great saint had come. After Ancestor Darkfeather arrived, his voice was biting cold. His young face was filled with endless coldness. If you want to fight, I'll accompany you to the end. Great Sage Darkfeather is very powerful. The face of the great sage in the sky sank. He said coldly, that kid has obtained the inheritance of the Rinnegan. It belongs to our Sixth Tao sect. Tell him to hand it over. The Rinnegan. Countless people were shocked. You said that he has the Rinnegan? Do you have evidence? The great sage of the Sixth Tao sect said, tell him to come out and the truth will be revealed. Hearing this confident voice, the surrounding people were shocked. Could it be that Lin Xian really has the inheritance of the Rinnegan? It's too inconceivable. The Lotus Old Ancestor laughed. Unfortunately, Lin Xian is not in our Xintian pavilion right now. How is that possible? The great sage's pupils shrank. You want to protect that kid? I already said that it's not my idea this time. It's the order of our Sixth Tao sect master. Anyone who dares to intercept is an enemy of our Sixth Tao sect. We will do whatever it takes to suppress that kid. Do you still want to stop us? The Lotus Old Ancestor frowned. She said, I already said that he's not in our Xintian pavilion. You also know that he's a young top genius and needs to gain experience. So a few days ago, he left here to gain experience. What? He left. The great sage of the Sixth Tao sect frowned. Where did he go? Chapter 45-58. Grand Elder Darkfeather sneered. How would we know? We won't restrict the movements of our disciples when they go out to train. So, regardless of whether what you said is true or not, you've found the wrong place to find Lin Xian. He's not here. You'd better go somewhere else to find him. How is that possible? He just came to Xintian Pavilion not long ago, and he went out to train? And it was just a few days ago? There's no such coincidence. He must be hiding here. You let me investigate. After he finished speaking, his soul power surged out in all directions. Courting death. How can you investigate our Xintian Pavilion? Lotus Old Ancestor was furious. Supreme Saint Darkfeather was also furious. Don't think that you can be arrogant just because you're from the Sixth Tao sect. Believe it or not, I can make a move on you right now. The atmosphere in the sky became incomparably solemn. Those people below were also gnashing their teeth. Damn it, he's too arrogant. The Xintian Pavilion was a top-notch sect. How could it be so easy for anyone to pry into it? If that's the case, where will their face go? The atmosphere between the two sides became more and more tense. Just at this moment, the great sage in the sky made his move. He punched out with supreme power. His physique seemed to have turned into a god, unparalleled in the world. You're courting death. Supreme Saint Darkfeather made his move. His wings were fierce and domineering as they slashed out. They were like two heavenly blades. The two collided, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. The Lotus Old Ancestor was also ready to make his move. The great sage formed a seal and crushed a jade pendant. Suddenly, 6 phantoms flew out from the pendant and turned into 6 worlds. They floated around him. Terrifying power rarely appeared. The Lotus Great Sage was shocked. The lotuses in the sky shattered. The great sage of the demon region also had a solemn expression. The power of the Sixth Tao. He didn't expect this great sage to carry the power of the Sixth Tao. It was too terrifying. The people of Xintian Pavilion were also shocked. This aura was too terrifying. Was the power of the Sixth Tao sect so terrifying? The great sage sneered. I've said it before. You're not my opponent. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. He carried the power of 6 worlds and charged over. The Lotus Great Sage was forced back. Supreme Saint Darkfeather's face was cold. He wanted to launch a strong attack. At this moment, an aura spread out from the depths of the Shintian Pavilion. Boom, boom. The 6 worlds were suppressed, and the Great Saint was sent flying, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Who was it? Shock was written all over his face. Someone's aura alone was enough to injure him. The Lotus Grand Sage and the Dark Feather Grand Sage were also shocked. The Pavilion Master had awakened. They stood respectfully in the sky. A voice came from afar. You want to cause trouble in the Shintian Pavilion with just you? Even Kuan-Su was not qualified to do so. Supreme Sage Kuan-Su was the leader of the 6th Dao sect. When the Great Sage heard this, his pupils constricted, and he gritted his teeth. The Pavilion Master of the Profound Heaven Pavilion. Since you've already come out, why don't you come out and meet me? You have no right to see me. That voice snorted coldly. The 6th Dao sect's Great Sage's expression was ugly. He had heard that this person was the master of the mysterious Heaven Pavilion. His name was Xiang Tian, and his strength was incomparably mysterious. Among the great saints, that person was incomparably terrifying and even unfathomable. No one knew exactly how strong the other party was. Before he came, the sect master had already warned him to be careful of this person. However, he was disdainful. Their 6 Dao sect's overall strength surpassed the Shintian Pavilions, even if the other party was the Pavilion Master. So what? Moreover, he had the 6 Paths power that the sect master had given him. But now, he was terrified. The other party's aura alone had destroyed the 6 Paths power and injured him. If he attacked again, he had no chance of winning. He gritted his teeth and said, "Although you're powerful, my 6 Dao sect is not weak. However, my 6 Dao sect is not to be trifled with. Does your mysterious Heaven Pavilion really want to become enemies with my 6 Dao sect? You can't represent the 6 Dao sect." Xiang Tian's voice rang out. "I already said that Lin Xian is not in the Shintian Pavilion. This is the last time. Get out of the Shintian Pavilion immediately. As for how long you want to stay outside the Shintian Pavilion, that's your business. Fine. I want to see if that kid can stay inside for the rest of his life." He snorted coldly and left the Shintian Pavilion. He sat down cross-legged outside the Shintian Pavilion. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on the world. Did he leave? The people of the Shintian Pavilion heaved a sigh of relief. Their pavilion master was too domineering. With just a few words, he had scared off such a powerful saint. In the following days, everyone regained their peace. The great saint had been guarding outside the Shintian Pavilion. On the other side, Lin Xian and Xiao Mu took the teleportation formation and left the eastern region of the Tianxian continent. In a mountain range, 2 figures appeared. They had finally left that place. Lin Xian looked into the distance and heaved a sigh of relief. "Now, let's go to your family." "Okay." Xiao Mu smiled and led the way. Lin Xian took out the black earth. The 2 walked in and rested while flying. During this time, Xiao Mu introduced the situation of the Xiao family to him. The Xiao family was a huge family, and it was a soul family. They were located in Shanghai City. Shanghai City was one of the ancient cities. It had been passed down for a long time, and no one knew its exact origins. Furthermore, Shanghai City had a very special situation, which was that the families there were all experts in the soul system. This was because Shanghai City was a beast-taming city. The families there were all beast-taming families. The Xiao family was one of them. They controlled many monsters. These controlled demonic beasts were either sold to powerful martial artists or provided to the surrounding sections. Every sect needed a lot of monsters. Some were responsible for guarding the mountain gate. Some were responsible for suppressing them. Some of them became mounts. Most of these monsters came from Shanghai City. Lin Xian was very surprised. Beast-taming families were related to the soul. In other words, they had seen many soul experts and even eye technique experts. This surprised him, but also made him happy. This was because only by exchanging pointers with more powerful experts could his soul improve rapidly. As they flew, Lin Xian cultivated silently. 3 months later, they stopped. In front of them was a huge city. It looked like an ancient beast. It had a desolate aura and an extremely terrifying monster aura. The two of them walked out of the black earth and stood in the air. Lin Xian could hear the roars of the demonic beasts coming from the ship. It really shocked the world. Shanghai City? Lin Xian took a deep breath. Xiaomu also looked at the city, his eyes shining. When he left, he was still young. Now that he was back, he didn't have much lifespan left. The world had really changed. Let's go. He looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian nodded, and the two walked in. It was very lively inside. Experts, saints, and monsters could be seen everywhere. Xiaomu was very familiar with this. He said that after 5,000 years, this place didn't seem to have changed much. Chapter 45-59. Xiaomu pointed into the distance. There was a huge warbeast castle there. There were many demonic beasts that could fight inside. It was the place where the great beast tamer clans competed with each other. On the other side, there were many delicacies. There were all kinds of beast materials, such as claws, teeth, scales, and so on. He pointed in another direction and said, "Over there, they could buy some small demonic beasts and cultivate them. As for that street, one could buy a lot of information about the beasts there." The entire ancient city was closely connected to the beasts, which made Lin Xian feel very curious. As expected of the antiquity city, it was indeed powerful. Lin Xian followed Xiaomu and toured the ancient city. He saw some young geniuses who were much weaker than the strong ones he had met. However, there were a few powerful beasts beside him that could sweep through everything. Such people could also be arrogant and overbearing. However, to be able to afford such beasts, their identities were not ordinary. Xiaomu said, beast tamer clans were also very powerful. They were soul masters and could control beasts. It could be said that they had many means in a real battle. Some beasts' supernatural powers could be used by them. If they could control a great saint-level beast, it would be even more terrifying. They could sweep through everything. Lin Xian was shocked after hearing this. Controlling a great saint-level beast? How terrifying was that? Xiaomu said. In fact, beast tamers didn't only know eye techniques. There were many uses of the soul. Sometimes, it could be combined with sound and illusion. Of course, no matter how powerful one's soul was, it was very difficult to control a great saint-level beast. It was simply an impossible task, unless one's cultivation had reached the great saint level and was proficient in the soul. Indeed, Lin Xian nodded. At the great saint level, it was impossible to be controlled unless the difference in soul was very large. Otherwise, it was almost impossible. He asked if there was anyone in Shanghai City who could control a great saint-level beast. Xiaomu said that only one person could control it, and that was the Lord of Shanghai Palace. The Lord of Shanghai Palace. Lin Xian was shocked. Could there really be someone who could do it? How powerful was he? He said, "Senior, please tell me in detail." Xiaomu said, "I'm not sure either." However, there had always been legends about him. It was said that the Mountain Sea Palace Lord had long since become a great sage. Furthermore, what he cultivated was an extremely mysterious eye technique of the cosmos. Triflower green spiritual eyes. He was the only one who could control great saint-level demonic beasts. There were 2 great sage-level demonlings in the Mountain Sea Temple, and they were under Yang Qi's control. Even now, they were serving as godlings. He was the god of Shanghai City, a legendary existence. Lin Xian was also shocked after hearing this. He really wanted to meet such a peerless figure. "Oh right, old Xiao," Lin Xian said that your Xiao clan has some kind of eye technique. He was also very curious about this. Xiaomu said that our Xiao clan, as a clan of beast tamers, does not use eye techniques, but sound techniques. Our Xiao clan's secret technique, illusory melody. It was extremely strong and unique in Shanghai City. Other than us, there are a few other top-tier beast tamer clans. Some of them have special ocular techniques. You'll know about this later. Then how am I going to enter the Xiao family? Will you arrange an identity for me? Lin Xian asked. Xiaomu shook his head. It's not convenient for me to appear now because the Shao clan doesn't know that I'm still alive. I hope that you can enter with a new identity and don't tell anyone about your relationship with me. As a clan of beast tamers, the Shao clan would enter the endless mountains every once in a while to search for demonic beasts. Among them, other than some beast tamers, they also need other experts, such as saints with strong physiques. Of course, if you're a soul expert, you can also enter. Especially the Shao clan, they welcome eye technique experts very much. Lin Gongzi, your physique is strong, and you're also an eye technique expert. Therefore, you can enter with either identity. Then, Lin Xin asked, "What do you do after you enter?" Xiaomu sighed. "Before I left, my identity was the young clan leader of the Shao clan. In the future, I would become the clan leader of the Shao clan. But after I left, I disappeared for 5,000 years, and my position as clan leader was taken away by someone else. Therefore, my daughter's position in the clan would definitely plummet. My daughter did not disappoint me. She inherited my bloodline talent and is very strong in the path of the soul. Now, she has also grown into a powerful Saint King and become a top elder. But because of me, the clan has always been on guard against her. They even suppress her from time to time. Moreover, I have a granddaughter. Now, this granddaughter of mine is also very talented. She's the dazzling pearl of the Shao clan's younger generation. What I want you to do is enter the Shao clan and help my granddaughter, Shao Shiyu. He wanted her to become the champion of the Beast Tamer competition. Let her become the young clan leader of the Shao clan. The position of clan leader originally belonged to our bloodline. Since it was lost in my hands, I will let my granddaughter take it back." "So that's the case." Lin Xin nodded, indicating that he understood. Xiaomu said, "Young master, I know that your eye technique is strong, and my request seems to be too much. But this is also good for you. I can now teach you the Shao clan's secret technique, the Phantom Sound Song. Although it's not an eye technique, it's still a path of the soul. It's a very terrifying secret technique. You can comprehend it. Not only that, but as long as you help Shiyu, you can enter the Shanghai Palace. The Mountain Sea Palace is a holy land for souls. There are tens of millions of soul cultivation techniques there. Although your eye bloodline technique is at the peak, it's still not enough. Although your eye technique is top-notch, you can still use other people's knowledge. I think that these soul cultivation techniques won't be bad for Lin Gongzi." Speaking up to this point, Xiaomu paused for a moment. Then, he took out a box from his storage ring. He said, "Finally, I have something to give to Lin Gongzi. I hope that Lin Gongzi won't reject it." "What is this?" Lin Xian was shocked. He received it and opened it. Then, his pupils shrank. Inside was an eye sealed in ice by a god crystal. That eye had a golden pupil. It was abnormally mysterious. It was very similar to Lin Xian's Tianji god eyes. This was the eye of the Tianji clan. "Where did you get it?" Lin Xian was shocked. Xiaomu said, "I found this eye in the secret room of the Tianji pavilion. At that time, I was wild with joy. Who would have thought that I would be trapped for 5,000 years? So, I had no interest in cultivating this eye. Since young master has the Tianji god eyes, this eye is suitable for you. Many thanks." Lin Xian's lips curled up into a smile. He carefully put away the Tianji god eyes. Then, he said, "I'll help you fulfill your wish. Then, this old man will thank you." Next, Xiaomu passed on the Phantom Sound Song to Lin Xian. Then, he lived in seclusion in Shanghai City. Chapter 4560. Lin Xian took a deep breath and walked towards the Shao clan. He was overjoyed because he knew that the Tianji divine eye was evolving into the Rinnegan. However, it was too difficult to evolve into the Rinnegan. Although he had obtained the Rinnegan inheritance from the Qian Grand Sage, it was still extremely difficult. Thinking about the evolution of the Nine-Yang Saint body and the Dragon Sword Soul, he knew that the more powerful the attack, the harder it was. The more powerful it was, the harder it was to grow. With the Tianji Divine Eye, it was equivalent to giving Lin Xian a powerful soul resource. As for the other soul secret techniques, they would allow him to gain a deeper understanding of the Tao of the soul. Shao clan, let me see how magical the Beast Tamer clan is. He walked towards the Shao clan. The Xiao clan was an extremely powerful clan in Shanghai City. Hence, the Xiao clan's residence was extremely majestic and took up a vast amount of land. As an ancient city, Shanghai City was extremely vast. It was like a small world. The Xiao clan was located in the northern region of Shanghai City. Lin Xian flew for a long time before he arrived at the Xiao clan's territory. Looking at the majestic buildings in front of him, he was amazed. As expected of a top clan, it was indeed majestic. Lin Xian walked forward. He realized that the situation around him was not right, so he stopped. As he walked towards the Xiao clan, there was no one around as no one dared to stop in front of the Xiao clan. Moreover, Lin Xian felt that there were countless pairs of eyes looking at him. He squinted his eyes and his eyes flashed. In the next moment, he turned around and revealed a look of surprise. It turned out that the plants on both sides of the street near the Xiao clan were all monsters. Moreover, they were in charge of scouting. The gazes from before were from these plants. Lin Xian was surprised. As expected of a beast tamer clan, they were indeed powerful to be able to tame these plants for scouting. He ignored her and continued to walk forward with a smirk. When he arrived near the Xiao clan's main gate, he stopped. He realized that there were many willow catkins floating around the Xiao clan. These catkins danced in the wind and circled around. It seemed to form a defensive array. Such an array surprised Lin Xian. He didn't act rashly. He felt a shocking aura from the catkin, which seemed to be able to threaten him. Interesting. He was becoming more and more mysterious. Lin Xian was looking forward to it. He stopped and carefully perceived it. He wanted to see who exactly this Lu Su was. At this time, a few figures came from the street in the distance. They were very fast, like lightning, walking over. At the same time, some voices could be heard. Fairy Yunshu, are you satisfied with this item? This was the voice of a young man. The other young man said with a smile. That was for sure. This time, they had prepared meticulously. Fairy Yunshu would definitely be satisfied. At this moment, a woman's voice rang out. This time, it's not bad. You guys are very thoughtful. Fairy Yunshu, you're being too courteous. We're your disciples, so it's only right that we help you. At first, the sound came from afar, but in the blink of an eye, it had arrived nearby. Accompanying it was the terrifying aura of a demonic beast. At this moment, a voice rang out. There was someone up ahead. Who was it? Who dared to be in the territory of the Xiao clan? This person looked very suspicious. Could it be that he was sent by another clan to investigate the situation? Take him down. There was an angry roar, followed by the roar of a demonic beast. A violent force pressed forward like a storm. Lin Xian had been observing the catkins before. What was so special about them? Suddenly, he sensed that a few people had appeared behind him. One of them was charging towards him. He turned around abruptly, and a cold light appeared in his eyes. He realized that it was a demonic wolf that was charging towards him. It had reached the realm of a sage. He snorted coldly, and a cold, murderous intent burst out from his eyes as he charged towards the demonic wolf. The demonic wolf was terrified. Its body trembled as it kept retreating. The person on the demonic wolf was also sent flying. He floated in the void, and his face turned cold. Roar. The demonic beasts beside him also let out uneasy roars. One by one, they became violent. The people on the demonic beasts were stunned. Damn it, what's going on? They all rose into the air. Who are you? How dare you disturb Fairy Yunshu's mount? Do you want to die? Those people shouted angrily. Lin Xian turned around, and the demonic beasts were terrified. There were a few figures standing beside him. There were 5 of them. One of them was a young man, and the other was a woman in purple. She stood there with a cold expression, and her beautiful eyes stared at Lin Xian. Someone from the Xiao clan? Lin Xian's lips curled up. He did not care about these people. Instead, he asked, how can I join the Xiao clan? Is this guy here to join the Xiao clan? The surrounding people discussed. They all looked at Fairy Yunshu. Her face was also cold. You want to join the Xiao clan? You've disturbed my mount. Don't even think about joining the Xiao clan in this lifetime. Men, throw him out. Xiao Yunshu snorted coldly and then walked forward. The surrounding youths quickly controlled the demonic beasts. A few people climbed up. Two of them stopped and looked at Lin Xian. Little brat, are you going to scram, or do you want us to do it? Looking at Yun Shu's disappearing figure, Lin Xian's lips curled up into a cold smile. He attacked at lightning speed and attacked the two people. The two people snorted. You're courting death. One of them attacked Lin Xian. His body was very strong, like a giant. The other person let out a sharp cry and attacked Lin Xian. This was a combination of physical strength and soul attack. The two of them worked together, and the power was very terrifying. However, it was a pity that they met Lin Xian. Lin Xian slashed out with his sword. Whether it was physical strength or soul, everything was destroyed by him. In the next moment, a golden light appeared in his eyes, and he looked at the two people. The two people felt that they were shrouded by a god, and they knelt on the ground with a bang. After talking about the Shao clan, Lin Xian started asking questions. Not long after, he got the information he wanted. With a wave of his hand, he knocked the two people unconscious. The two of them were Sage Kings, but they were very miserable at this moment. In the courtyard, these were the two people's identities. Lin Xian was not the only one who wanted to join the Shao clan. Countless strong people wanted to join because the Shao clan was a beast-tamer family. Moreover, there were a few famous girls in the younger generation, and other people wanted to make friends with them. If they could marry one of the girls, they would have a meteoric rise. This was also the reason why these courtyards wanted to join the Shao clan. Once they joined, they would not be battle servants, nor would they be members of the Shao clan. Instead, they would be guests, called courtyards. Their status was not as high as the Shao clans, but those strong people were willing to join because this was an opportunity for them to have a meteoric rise. The Shao clan was not the only one who was like this. It was the same for other top beast-tamer families. This was because there had been people who had succeeded in marrying such a proud daughter of heaven. Their status had undergone an earth-shaking change in a single day. Chapter 45-61. Lin Xian did not have such thoughts, but he was here to join the Shao clan. He had received news that there would be a test in 5 days. At that time, those who passed the test would be able to join the Shao clan. Such a test was extremely difficult. Normally, one would not be able to pass without the cultivation of a Saint King. Even if one was a Saint King, one would need to have a strong physique and soul. 5 days? Huh? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Then he would come back in 5 days. 5 days passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, Shanghai City became lively because it was the day of the Shao clan's test. Once they succeeded, they would become part of the Shao clan. They would have a chance to get close to Shao Yunshu and even have a chance to meet the legendary Shao Shiyu. The huge square of the Shao clan was filled with people. There were 2 demonic beasts in front. One of them was a majestic crane, and the other was a huge snake with a murderous aura. Its pair of green eyes were filled with terrifying power. At this moment, a Saint King walked up and charged towards the crane. The red-crowned crane's wings fluttered. His feathers turned into flying arrows, covering the sky and covering the earth as they attacked. 10,000 flying swords. 20,000. 30,000. When the 30,000 flying swords arrived, the Saint King retreated. Cracks appeared on his body, and his face turned pale. The crane retracted its wings and said coldly, he could only withstand 30,000 flying swords, which was a lower defense. Hearing this, the Saint King's face turned ugly. At his level of cultivation, he could be considered an expert in his own right. He would be respected wherever he went. But now, he had become a lower existence, and he was unwilling to accept it. But there was nothing he could do. The crane in front of him was extremely terrifying. Every flying sword it shot out was terrifying. He could only withstand 30,000 flying swords, which was already his limit. But unfortunately, he did not meet the requirements of the Shao clan. The surrounding people were also discussing. This guy looked strong, but why could he only withstand 30,000 flying swords? I heard that he was an expert from the body refinement sect. No way, that would be a disgrace to his sect. His master seemed to have some connections with the Shao clan, which was why he could participate in the test. Otherwise, I don't think he even has the qualifications to participate in the test. Cold laughter could be heard from the surroundings. Among them, some of them had already passed the test and become disciples. There were also some people who came to watch the show. The expert from the body refining sect lowered his head deeply. The surrounding voices were like sharp swords stabbing into his heart. He was too ashamed to stay here any longer. He roared at the sky, tore open the void, and fled. Okay, next one. The red-crowned crane at the front spoke again. A figure walked out, and the surrounding crowd was shocked. Within the crowd, Lin Xian stood there, his eyes flashing. Was this the so-called test? He could tell that the crane's flying sword was used to test one's physique. As for the blue-eyed snake, it was used to test souls. Only those with outstanding physiques or souls were qualified to join the sect. If that person was placed in another world, he would definitely be a top expert. However, in an ancient city like Shanghai City, he was nothing. It was actually young Master Xiaoyao. The crowd exclaimed in surprise. The figure that walked up was extremely famous. It was a man in blue robes. His face was handsome, and he held a fan in his hand, looking just like an immortal. He strolled casually, as though he had ascended to immortality, and came to the front. I want to test my soul, Mr. Xiaoyao said indifferently. The white-crowned crane nodded its head, and the blue-eyed snake beside it let out an extremely sharp glow. A pair of eyes of the void appeared in the sky. They were jade green in color, and they were emitting a terrifying power of the soul. The surrounding people felt their scalps go numb. It was too horrifying. After the first jade green eye, the second and third appeared one after another. Very quickly, 7 appeared. 7 eyes of the soul enveloped Mr. Xiaoyao. Mr. Xiaoyao was able to defend against them completely. He only left when the 8th eye of the soul appeared. The surrounding people were shocked. Heavens! Mr. Xiaoyao's soul was truly strong. To think that he could defend against 7 eyes of the soul. No matter where he was, he would be a top expert in the soul. Why would he be willing to join a sect here? Don't you know that Mr. Xiaoyao is here to pursue Fairy Yunshu? So that was the case. Everyone was enlightened. Xiao Yunshu, the genius of the Xiao clan. She had a peerless beauty, top-notch talent, and an extraordinary identity. This made her the famous pearl of Shanghai City. Countless experts and geniuses chased after her. Mr. Xiaoyao was naturally no exception. This person was pretty strong. In the distance, in the pavilions that were floating in the sky, the experts of the Xiao clan stood there. They looked at the scene in the square and started discussing. Among them, some of the girls of the Xiao clan laughed. This person is pretty good, but it's a pity that he's not here for us. Little sister Yunshu, he's here for you. Many of the girls of the Xiao clan looked at a figure in purple. It was Xiao Yunshu. Xiao Yunshu looked down and nodded her head slightly. Not bad indeed. This person could become her disciple. Below, Mr. Xiaoyao, who had successfully defended against the 7 eyes of the soul, smirked. He walked back with victory, receiving the envy of countless people. When he came to the crowd, he frowned slightly. That was because there was a person who was expressionless. He looked at that person. That person was wearing a red robe. He couldn't detect the aura on his body. It seemed like he hadn't reached the Saint King realm. Such a person dared to be expressionless in front of his victory. How despicable. But soon, he ignored him. He was just an ant. Maybe he didn't know what it meant for him to block the 7 eyes of the soul. With his talent, if he wasn't chasing after Xiao Yunshu, would he need to come here? He was confident that if he was given 3 years, he would be able to chase after Xiao Yunshu. By then, he would be the master of the Xiao clan. Lin Xian looked at Mr. Xiaoyao expressionlessly. What was there to be happy about blocking the 7 eyes of the soul? He shook his head slightly. Ignoring him, Zhang Xian continued walking forward. Around them, countless people turned their heads. Was someone participating in the test? The current Mr. Xiaoyao had pushed the test to the extreme. No one could beat him. Now, after Mr. Xiaoyao, everyone would feel the pressure. For a moment, no one dared to step out. But now, someone dared to step out. He must have absolute confidence in his own strength. Which top-notch Mr. came to chase after the fairy? They all looked over. But when they saw Lin Xian, their faces were filled with shock. Who was this person? Which sect was he from? Which clan was he from? I don't know. He's unfamiliar. I've never seen him before. Maybe he came because he wanted to become a disciple. That would be pointless. I reckon that this person would also end up being eliminated. Chapter 4562. Even an ant dares to step forward? Young Master Xiaoyao looked at him and sneered. Far away in the sky, the people in the pavilion also laughed when they saw this. Xiao Yunshu frowned. What's going on? It's this person? Didn't she ask someone to get rid of this guy? Why is he still alive? Moreover, he came here to take the test. Seeing Xiao Yunshu's expression, a girl beside her laughed. Does Sister Yunshu know this person? Xiao Yunshu snorted. I don't know him. Damn this guy. Just let him take the test. He won't pass anyway. What do you want to test? Below, Bai He asked. Lin Xian looked at Bai He and said, Test his physique. Test his physique? Is he also a physique cultivator? Many people were surprised. Bai He nodded. He treated those who came to take the test seriously. Next, it spread out its wings, and countless feathers once again turned into flying swords that flew towards Lin Xian. 10,000, 20,000. Young Master Xiaoyao sneered. This guy's physique is so weak. He probably can't even block 10,000 flying swords. Soon, he was stunned because he found that Lin Xian had blocked 30,000 flying swords. This guy's physique is so strong. The middle-aged Heaven Duke. In the pavilion, Xiao Yunshu was also stunned. Interesting. It exceeded her expectations. Her lips curled into a sneer. She wanted to see if he could block 10,000 flying swords. She was clear about Bai He's methods. She guessed that his limit was 50,000 flying swords. But soon, the smile on her face disappeared. Below, Lin Xian had blocked 70,000 flying swords. Not only her, but the other people of Xiao clan were also surprised. The people below were even more shocked. This guy's physique is so strong, blocking 70,000 flying swords. His physique talent was not weaker than young Master Xiaoyao's soul talent. Indeed, young Master Xiaoyao had blocked 7 soul eyes, while Lin Xian had blocked 70,000 flying swords. In terms of talent, they were already evenly matched. Young Master Xiaoyao's face turned cold. Damn it! How could it be? Did I misjudge? This guy is a genius that is not weaker than me? Then why is he here? Was he also here to pursue Xiao Yunshu? All of a sudden, Mr. Xiaoyao treated Lin Xian as a strong competitor. The White Crane was equally surprised. He asked, Should we continue? Lin Xian nodded and continued. The number of flying swords continued to increase and soon reached 90,000. However, Lin Xian still did not retreat. When the 100,000 flying swords disappeared, the entire scene was silent. The crowd found it hard to believe that this young man could withstand 100,000 fairies. The White Crane did not attack again because the limit of the entire test was 100,000 flying swords. There was no need to continue testing. This person's physique was extremely strong. In the sky, inside the pavilion, Xiao Yunshu was also stunned. Previously, she had looked down on this person. With the addition of the original 10 people, Xiao Yunshu now had 15 bodyguards by her side. Xiao Yunshu stood there and looked at young Master Xiaoyao. She smiled and said, Xiaoyao, these people will be under your command in the future. Is that true? That's great. Fairy Yunshu was relieved. Young Master Xiaoyao was stunned for a moment, then became incomparably happy. He looked at Lin Xian with a complacent look. This guy's talent was so good, but he was reckless enough to offend Xiao Yunshu. Looks like he'll be unlucky in the future. All right, get ready. We'll go hunting in 10 days. After saying that, Xiao Yunshu left. She had her own things to do. All right, now everyone listen to me. Go and get ready. This time, we must make Yunshu satisfied. Young Master Xiaoyao waved his hand, looking like a leader. The others had seen young Master Xiaoyao's talent and naturally knew his strength, so no one resisted. Lin Xian glanced at him, then found a mountain range and sat down cross-legged. Damn guy, don't you understand my orders? Young Master Xiaoyao saw this scene and was furious. This guy dared to ignore him. Lin Xian opened his eyes and said, I came here to find Xiao Shiyu, not to listen to you. If you want to order me around, you can defeat me. Of course, if you challenge me, you'll die if you lose. After saying that, Lin Xian closed his eyes. Damn it, young Master Xiaoyao was mad. He really wanted to attack. However, when he thought of his opponent's physique, he was not confident. Forget it. I'll find a chance to teach this guy a lesson. Chapter 45-63. Lin Xian closed his eyes, sat on the mountain peak, and began to cultivate. A spell appeared in his mind. Song of Illusions. This was taught to him by Xiao Mu, and it was also the Xiao family's secret technique. It was a terrifying soul technique. Lin Xian was browsing and comprehending it. He came to the Xiao mansion not only to help Xiao Shiyu, but also for his own cultivation. Moreover, he had an idea. Since this was Shanghai City, and everyone was a beast tamer family, why not use this opportunity to become a beast tamer? This way, even if he was alone, he could control thousands of beasts. When the time came, he could return to the Misty Peak and take revenge. One had to know that other than him, his old friends were all suppressed there, waiting to fight. Lin Xian wanted to go back and save them, but it was impossible with his own strength. If he could control thousands of beasts and kill his way back, who could stop him? Therefore, Lin Xian decided to quickly comprehend the Song of Illusions and other soul techniques to control the beasts. 10 days passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, Xiao Yunshu came again. She was riding a beast, looking extraordinarily majestic. Today, she was wearing a set of exquisite armor. She also wore a jade flute. She looked like a fairy who had descended to the mortal world. The other families were stunned. Xiao Yunshu looked around and frowned slightly. Lin Xian didn't come? She looked at Mr. Xiaoyao and asked, Is everyone not here yet? Mr. Xiaoyao frowned and said, After that guy came, he found a place to cultivate and didn't care about anything else. I'll go find him now. After saying that, she prepared to lead the others to suppress Lin Xian. A figure flew over. I'm not too late, am I? Xiao Yunshu saw Lin Xian and snorted coldly. You came in time. Let's go. She waved her hand, and immediately, the people around her moved with her. Xiao Yunshu's mount was extraordinary. It was a beast of heaven and earth, a jade white lion. He ran in the air, and clouds rose under his feet. He carried Xiao Yunshu and flew quickly. The surrounding sects also took out their own mounts and followed them. Even young Mr. Xiaoyao had one. Young Master Xiaoyao was sitting on a blazing godly hawk, looking extraordinarily mighty. Lin Xian was the only one who didn't. He stepped into the air and flew. The crowd originally wanted to mock Lin Xian, but they realized that Lin Xian's speed was really fast. In the blink of an eye, he was already out of sight. Damn it, they also urged their mounts to give chase. The geography of Shanghai City was really unique, with one side facing the mountains and the other side facing the sea. This time, they were going to the 100,000 mountains. There were many demon beasts there. Every beast-taming family would go there to look for demon beasts and bring them back for training. Xiao Yunshu stopped at the top of the 100,000 mountains and said coldly, All right, I'll give you another test this time. Go down and come back before dark. Whoever brings back the most demonic beasts and the highest grade will be the winner. Whoever ranks higher will be rewarded handsomely. The eyes of those men Ting lit up as they flew down towards the mountain range swiftly. Mr. Xiaoyao was equally excited. He knew that the time of the Mountain Sea Beast Trials was very close. The Mountain Sea Beast Trials was a competition held in Shanghai City. All the beast-taming families in Shanghai City had to participate in it. These beast-taming families were very powerful, but they couldn't be compared to Shanghai Palace. Therefore, the geniuses and experts of these families wanted to join. The only way to join Shanghai Palace was through the Mountain Sea Beast Trials. As long as one could get a good result in this competition and shine brightly, one would be selected. Xiao Yunshu would naturally participate in this Mountain Sea Beast Trials. Moreover, she would choose some helpers to help him. If he was selected, he would be able to stay with Xiao Yunshu every day. This way, the chances of catching up with her would be much higher. Young Master Xiao Yao's eyes lit up. He clenched his fists. He must get this spot. Lin Xian didn't know about these things. He was thinking about how many demon beasts he had to fight. He didn't want to show his strength and talent. Therefore, he wanted to keep a low profile. Boom, boom. Lin Xian moved quickly. He didn't care about ordinary demon beasts at all. He also ignored those saint-level beasts. Because with his current strength and vision, one had to be at least Saint King level to be his opponent. Therefore, Lin Xian fought 10 Saint King level demon beasts. These demon beasts were very strong at first. When they saw a small human daring to come, they immediately roared. But with a single slap from Lin Xian, all of these demonic beasts submitted to him. That should be enough, right? Lin Xian used the chains of law to bind these demon beasts. Then, he looked at the time and realized that there was still half a day before the sky turned dark. Therefore, he prepared to continue comprehending the phantom melody. On the other side, young Master Xiao Yao and the other disciples were also attacking with all their strength. Young Master Xiao Yao's eyes flashed. He was at the beginning stage of Saint King. With his strength, it wasn't a problem to control demon beasts of Saint level. However, it was more troublesome to control demon beasts of the same level. With his current strength, he could only control 3 demon beasts at most. Moreover, this was only suppression. It wasn't control. If he wanted to control a demon beast of the same level, he might not even be able to do it. If demon beasts were so easy to control, then Shanghai City would have become the #1 city in the world. After suppressing 3 Saint King-level demon beasts, young Master Xiao Yao heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that the sky had turned dark. He smiled happily. With his results, he was definitely #1. He prepared to return. On the way back, he received a message from Xiao Yunshu. She said that she had something to do and would leave. As for the results of the competition, young Master Xiao Yao would decide it himself. Then, he would report the results to her. Young Master Xiao Yao was stunned. He didn't know what made Xiao Yunshu leave. However, he didn't care. He returned first and waited. The demon beast behind him was caught by him. It was inside the demon beast bag. This was given to them by Xiao Yunshu. It could be used to store demon beasts. Not long after, those sects also came back one after another, handing over their demonic beast bags. Lin Xian had also returned and tossed a demonic beast pouch to the other party. Someone asked where Fairy Yunshu was. Young Master Xiao Yao said that she had something to do and left first. I will take care of the following matters. Your demon beast bags are already with me. When I return, I will pass them to Xiao Yunshu. Now, return. Everyone returned. After young Master Xiao Yao returned, he couldn't wait to check the number of people. He found that he had suppressed the best demon beasts. He thought that the first place would definitely be his. In other words, he could participate in the Mountain Sea battles with Xiao Yunshu in the future. However, when he saw that there were 10 Saint King level demon beasts in Lin Xian's demon beast bag, he was stunned. Damn it! How was this possible? This guy actually got the stone. How did he do it? He was really stunned. It was 3 times more than him. Despicable guy. His eyes instantly turned red. Chapter 45-64. Young Master Xiao Yao didn't know that this was because Lin Xian wanted to keep a low profile and didn't want to show too much of his strength. That was why he suppressed 10 beasts. Otherwise, the number would probably scare the other party to death. After all, compared to Lin Xian's current strength, even the top existences in the middle stage of the Holy King realm didn't know about his opponents. Perhaps only the late stage of the Holy King realm could give him pressure. Therefore, these early-stage Holy King realm beasts really weren't a challenge. To young Master Xiao Yao, it was different. Young Master Xiao Yao's eyes were red. He took a deep breath and gritted his teeth. He made a decision in his heart. He decided to exchange with Lin Xian. Originally, Lin Xian's name was written on the beast bag. He used his soul to erase it and wrote his own name. Then, he walked towards Fairy Yunshu's palace. Then, He took the beast back. Xiao Yunshu was a little depressed when she returned. Previously, she was waiting above the 100,000 mountains. About 2 hours later, she noticed that there were some strange movements. So, she went to search. She saw a small beast. Although it was weak, its bloodline was very powerful. It made her happy. She was prepared to search for it. She flew all the way, but in the end, this little guy escaped. She returned without any success and was full of anger. She casually looked at the beast bags. The number of beasts inside couldn't be said to be bad, but it wasn't enough to satisfy her. However, when she saw a beast bag, her eyes suddenly lit up. She carefully found that there were actually 10 beasts inside, and they were all at the early stage of the Holy King realm. To be able to suppress 10 such beasts in a day, one could imagine how strong they were. After all, the 100,000 mountains was very big, and these Holy King realm beasts were all experts. They would have their own territories. It was already very difficult to find them in a day, not to mention suppressing them. It would be normal if they were given more time, but to do it in a day, it really surprised her. She looked at the name on the beast bag and found that it was young Master Xiao Yao's. She immediately looked forward. "Did you bring this?" Young Master Xiao Yao was extremely nervous because this was Lin Xian's. At this moment, he gritted his teeth and said, "That's right. This is mine. I was lucky today, so I found a few more beasts and suppressed them." "Very good." The corners of Yun Shu's mouth curled up into a smile. Seemed like this young Mr. Xiao Yao was even stronger than she had imagined. With proper training, he might be able to become her helper. After all, the Mountain Sea Coliseum was about to arrive, and she was in urgent need of a helper. Then, she saw Lin Xian. Lin Xian's demonic beast pouch had 3 Saint King-class demonic beasts, which were not bad. However, compared to young Master Xiao Yao, they were still lacking. Shaking his head, he ignored him. Perhaps this fellow only had a slightly stronger physique. He was probably still lacking in other aspects. Next up, she would focus her attention on this Mr. Xiao Yao. Satisfied, young Master Xiao Yao left. "That's great." After that, he went back to announce the names of the sections. When Lin Xian found out that the first place was actually young Master Xiao Yao, he wasn't surprised at all. That was because he felt that he was keeping a low profile and had no intention of taking first place in the first place. However, when he saw that young Mr. Xiao Yao had suppressed 10 monstrous beasts while he only had 3, he frowned. The situation was different. He had suppressed 10 monstrous beasts, so how did it become young Master Xiao Yao's? He looked at the other party and quickly understood that the other party had made a move in the dark. His lips curled into a cold smile. Young Master Xiao Yao naturally saw this scene as well. His face sank as he walked over. "Kid, you have offended Fairy Yun Shu previously. I hope that you can keep a low profile and not cause trouble for me. Otherwise, I will chase you out." Obviously, this was a warning. Lin Xian looked at the other party with a smile that did not seem like a smile. He did not treat the other party as an opponent at all. That was because the other party was not qualified. He said calmly, "Some things could be hidden for a while, but not forever. You don't understand this theory, but I can teach you." With that, Lin Xian turned around and left. Young Master Xiao Yao's face turned green. Damn it, the other party's tone did not sound like a person of the same generation conversing. It was as if his elder was educating him. What rights did the other party have to look down on him? He was furious. Next, Lin Xian continued to comprehend the phantom sound song. Moreover, he decided to go out and test it out personally. He left the Xiao Mansion, left Shanghai City, and came to the 100,000 mountains again. Previously, he only had a day's time, so he stayed outside the 100,000 mountains. This time, he was about to enter even deeper. The aura inside was very dangerous. There were many more beast saints than outside. Lin Xian could feel a terrifying aura permeating the air. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Feeling that the distance was about right, Lin Xian stopped and looked around. Suddenly, the tree under his feet stood up. The branches of the tree turned into chains and swept towards him. Lin Xian snorted coldly and slapped the chains away with his palm. He looked down from the sky and frowned. The tree that he was originally on had turned into a giant. Not only him, but the entire forest shook and turned into tree giants. These were all beasts, and it was a group of beasts. There were too many of them, and the leader was an intermediate Saint King. Other than that, there were more than a dozen beginner Saint Kings and countless Saint Venerables. These tree giants roared together, and a terrifying power swept in all directions. Lin Xian also frowned. As expected of beasts, they lived here and could attack at any time. Ordinary Saint Kings would definitely die if they came here. Even an intermediate Saint King would have a slim chance of survival here. Unfortunately, Lin Xian's strength was not something these beasts could imagine. Buzz! A tree giant charged over. It was a peach tree, and its branches were drawn into peachwood swords. They kept flickering, carrying a biting cold aura. The sword shadow passed through, surprising Lin Xian. Saint Kings of the same level were probably not a match for the other party. Boom! Flames bloomed on his body. The 9 young divine fire quickly rushed out. These were all wood-type beasts and were very afraid of flames. As expected, as soon as the flames appeared, the surrounding thousands of tree giants quickly retreated and defended. The tree giants roared at the sky and waved their hands, bringing about an endless storm that swept in all directions. They defended. The 9 young divine fire pierced through everything and directly enveloped them. The tree giant roared angrily. Half of its body was ignited, and its body cracked open as it quickly retreated. The other tree demons also retreated. He was too strong. This human was stronger than they had imagined. Although they outnumbered him by 1,000 times, they could not defeat him at all. This flame was fatal to them. These tree giants quickly fled. "Want to leave?" Lin Xian sneered and flew up. He used the illusory sound song. The illusory sound song required the cooperation of a powerful saint artifact. For example, Xiao Yunshu's jade flute was a powerful saint artifact. Lin Xian did not have such a saint artifact, and he did not need it. He directly let out a dragon's roar. This dragon's roar was really terrifying when used with the illusory sound song. Chapter 45-65. Thousands of tree giants were affected. There, they roared and swept in all directions. The ground cracked as if it was the end of the world. At this moment, the leader that had been ignited by the divine fire charged over again. It was an old locust tree. At this moment, its broken body had already healed. Wood-type trees had very strong vitality. A long spear appeared in his hand, and he charged over. The spear pierced through. Everlasting wind and cloud. The spear was like a dragon. This tree giant was extremely powerful. The attack landed on Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian's divine body swayed, and the void around him collapsed. In the next moment, he turned around and looked at the tree demon. The tree demon was extremely terrified. How was this possible? His full-powered attack couldn't break through the other party's physique. What kind of defense was that? He was so scared that he turned around and fled. The surrounding tree demons fled even faster. Lin Xian waved his hand and covered the sky and earth, enveloping the tree demon. In the next moment, the golden light in his eyes spun and formed a strange pattern. The tree demon's soul was attacked, and he roared crazily. He let out a roar. Damn it! He wanted to resist, but how could he be a match for the heavenly secret divine eyes? Soon, he was controlled. The long spear in his hand disappeared, and he knelt on one knee on the ground. "Greetings, Lord." "Very good." Lin Xian smiled and said, "Control the other beasts." He gave the order, and the locust tree demon walked out and roared. The thousands of eye beasts all stopped. Had their leader already submitted to him? These tree giants didn't run away, but stopped. Lin Xian looked at the locust tree giant and asked if there were any other powerful beasts around. The locust tree giant pointed into the distance and said, there was something even more terrifying there. The ice fire swan. In front of them was a land of ice and fire. Half of it was ice, and the other half was fire. There was a powerful beast called the ice fire swan. One side of its wings was fire, and the other side was ice. The entire territory was formed by it. At this moment, it spread its wings and flew. Monstrous flames and storms swept out, attacking the humans in front of it. In front of it was a woman in white. She looked like a fairy from the nine heavens. There was also a beast beside her that let out a roar. Both sides were resisting. The woman had a jade flute in her hand. A terrifying heavenly sound flew out from the jade flute. The three mutated beasts raised their heads and roared. Terrifying auras swept out in all directions, clashing with the ice and fire. The ice-fire swan let out a long cry, causing the weather to change. Endless ice appeared in front of him, covering heaven and earth. Those hailstones were like mountains, falling from the sky, piercing through heaven and earth. The terrifying flames turned into divine swords that swept across the area. As the three exotic beasts retreated, the white-clothed lady's expression became incomparably grave. She did not expect the ice-fire swan to be so powerful. Previously, she had received news of this place and was prepared to come over. Originally, she was well prepared, but now it seemed that she had miscalculated. The ice-fire swan must have made a breakthrough not long ago. Its strength was stronger than he had imagined. It seemed that he had to go back and make preparations. The white-clothed woman wanted to leave, but the ice and fire that filled the sky condensed into a barrier cage. The ice-fire swan sneered. "Since you've come, don't leave." Although it didn't recognize the woman in white, it knew that she was from the Beast Tamer clan from the Song of Hallucination. He had once suppressed many of his subordinates, so how could he possibly let him go? The law of ice and fire condensed and swept out in all directions. Xiao Shiyu's expression was incomparably grave. She felt a huge impact, and her face turned pale. At this moment, an exotic beast beside her was frozen by ice, and then burned to ashes by the flames. Not good. Xiao Shiyu quickly retreated, performing the Song of Hallucination to the extreme. While controlling the remaining two exotic beasts to resist, the terrifying heavenly sound also charged towards the ice-fire swan, trying to interfere with its soul. The ice-fire swan snorted coldly. A metal fragment flew out from its body. The metal fragment was covered with cracks, and one could vaguely see that it was a fragment of a mirror. At this moment, it was protecting its soul. All the sound was blocked by this metal fragment. Damn it, it was a sacred weapon for soul defense. Xiao Shiyu's face turned pale. The other party even had such a thing. It was not easy for me to find this, and it was for you beast tamers from hell. So today, you can die. The ice-fire swan's huge body rushed over. Its pair of sharp claws were like dragons of ice and fire, shattering everything. Xiao Shiyu quickly retreated. The two exotic beasts in front of her were hit, and their bodies split open, turning into a bloody mist. Not good. At this critical moment, Xiao Shiyu once again activated the Song of Hallucination. The endless vines on her body spread out, forming armor and a shield to resist. After this attack, she flew backward, crashing into several mountains. The vines on her body also split open, turning into ashes and falling to the ground. Many cracks appeared on her body, but at least she was still alive. To be able to survive, as expected of a beast tamer family, there were so many beasts on her. But no matter how many beasts you have, you won't be able to walk out today. The ice-fire swan spread its wings and condensed the laws of heaven and earth again. This attack was definitely going to kill this human in front of it. Xiao Shiyu's eyes were filled with despair. The purple vine had already been shattered. This was an extremely strong defensive beast, and it was her trump card. Now that she could not defend against it, she was afraid that there was nothing she could defend against. No matter how many beasts she took out, she would not be able to block this ice-fire swan. Because this ice-fire swan was a late-stage holy king. Go to hell. The laws of ice and fire flew over. At this critical moment, a golden figure descended from the sky and punched into the void. It was like thousands of suns blooming with light, blocking the laws of ice and fire. At the same time, a sword flew out, broke the barrier, and quickly left with Xiao Shiyu. Trying to escape, the ice-fire swan roared. How could he allow her to escape? He spread his wings and quickly chased after her. Xiao Shiyu was stunned. Was she saved by someone? Who was it? She looked to the side. It was a figure covered in golden flames, like a sun war god. It was this person who saved her. Xiao Shiyu could not believe it. How strong was this physique? This person was none other than Lin Xian. Lin Xian learned from the locust tree giant that there was an even more terrifying beast ahead. He was ready to go. When he arrived, he saw a huge ice and fire barrier sweeping across the area. An ice-fire swan was attacking a human woman. Lin Xian could sense that the human woman was using the Song of Hallucination, which meant that the other party was from the Shao clan. So Lin Xian stepped in and saved her. He did not expect that the ice-fire swan did not retreat, but continued to chase after them. Xiao Shiyu said, "The beast behind us is very strong. We have to hurry up. Once we reach Shanghai City, we will be safe." As soon as she finished speaking, she felt the ice-fire swan behind them suddenly increase its speed and gather power. Its speed doubled, and it arrived above them in an instant. A pair of sharp claws slashed down. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.